I think that today is going to be really magnificent for a lot of the people that are watching, and we are going to talk a lot about like drug addiction and stuff like that, but it goes well beyond the scope of just drug addiction alone. So take it away. Tell us how this kind of unraveled.
All right. My name is Frank. Just to get off the bat, NYPD didn't send me here. This is my story. This is why I'm here. And I just don't want to see anyone go down that dark path. And recovery is possible. It's real. I don't want to see anyone kill themselves, law enforcement or not. It's just God didn't put you, or your higher power didn't put you here. So I've been following Mark since I was probably 17. I'm 27, and huge inspiration and actually big role model in my recovery. And about 2016, I think it was, I hit him up on Instagram. I'm like, oh, this guy's not going to answer me. And he did. And I sent him a NYPD hat and a patch. And he said, thanks a lot. And I was like, all right, this is really awesome. And then I don't know, a few months later, he put it on his podcast with Corey Gabrant and gave me a shout out. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then 2018, 2019 is when I went through a really, really dark, deep dark. I didn't know it was possible. And then at the end of 2019, I hit up Mark. I said, hey, man, you remember me? I gave you the hat and the patch. He's like, yeah. And I said, I got a really crazy story. You probably won't believe it, but it happened to me, and I want to share my story. This is the first time I'm publicly coming out with my story. Not only my close friends know really what happened. And I said, I would love to come meet you, talk about my story. I think he DM'd me and said, get your ass over here or bring it. Let me see what you got. And I was like, oh, shit. And then he hooked me up with a little Smoky. And then from there on, it just kept going and going and going. And I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. It's and then it hit me when I'm taking a bath later, laying down, and whatever I'm doing in the bath.
Yeah.
That's not talked about here. But yeah.
You told me earlier that you used to listen to "Fuck Your Elbow"
Oh
like
man,
every night before you go to bed.
I was gonna get. Oh yeah, and I told Mark, there's no sexual gratification in that. I didn't want him to think, hey, I'm listening to you, man, every night before bed. Something really strange. But yeah, Mark was a big inspiration of how my journey of just lifting weights, and my story of getting, walking back on playing college football, playing high school football for 2 years and missing that, and not playing football for 2 years, and then walking on to a pretty decent team in New York. And I would just listen to his, the powerlifting mode. You type in YouTube, powerlifting motivation, boom, Mark Bell, fuck your elbow. I listen to that when I wake up, before bed. A lot of Elliot Holtz, Brandon Lilly. He's been through a fucking dark path. This guy gave his life up for fucking powerlifting. And it talks about on the video, this guy had 3/4 into a semester in college, and he's going to miss 2 days training. 2 days. He gave up the course. That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
That's like, wow. That's what you need to have if, we can talk about, that's the mentality you need to have. When you look at Brandon Lilly, you look at Mark, you look at Larry Wheels up and coming. And I respect Mark so much. I respect his brother, his older brother. Rest in peace. The disease got a hold of him, and his other, and
Chris. Yep.
the boar, he's in recovery. And they're beating it. It's possible. He's beating it. He's beating this disease, and it's like, all right, you want to look like Mark, you want to be like Mark, you want to look like Larry, right? Brandon Lilly, right? Whatever. It's like young people getting lifting. I'm 27, so I've been lifting, for 17 years now, and I always talk about I've never taken a drug in my life. The only drug I've taken is alcohol. Alcohol is a drug, and it is one of the most powerful drugs in the world. I think it is the most powerful drug in the world. But it's like, do you understand? Like Mark played, he came out and told his story on. Every young person should watch Bigger, Faster, Stronger. You start bodybuilding, you start CrossFit, you start lifting weights. You got to watch it. It's gonna show you. And Mark tells his life how it is, and it just is inspirational. It's like, here I am, 20 years old, watching this documentary. Oh, this is how Mark is. This is how he got into weightlifting. This is his story. Larry Wheels, he sat down on YouTube and made an hour video of his fucking life from start to finish, leaving countries, picking up how he got into working out, picking up drugs, picking up, steroids, all these different things, and now how he is today. So you look at a guy like a young kid, and you're like, oh, I want to be like Larry. Do you understand the path it takes, the relationship damage, the hard work, the no drinking, the no partying, the none of that shit? That it's, you want to go that path. Yeah, you can't go with 99% into this. It's 100%. That 1%, it's you can't do it. It's 100% in and out, and it's not easy. You don't just wake up looking like Larry, or Mark. Mark's lived on this planet, and he's got plenty of lives. Powerlifting Mark, bodybuilding Mark, and it's the hero journey. It's the process. It's how did I get here? And I give these guys a lot of credit for sharing stories to an average guy like me that just looked up to these guys and made me kind of who I am today. I never met them in person. They didn't even know I didn't even know I existed, until my DM Mark, you know what I mean? So I don't know who the fuck this guy, Frank, hey, how you doing, man? Can I send you a hat? I listen to your videos all the time in bed. Like, oh, Jesus.
Like, sure, come on out. Let's
Yeah,
meet.
yeah.
Go on a date. Um, how did some of this start? Your dad is here with you today, and he seems great. I met him in only for a few minutes, so I don't know a ton, but I think a lot of times people think, oh well, if you just have parents that give a shit, then you're gonna be fine. But
And
how did you end up going downhill and ultimately having alcohol get a hold of you?
um, I mean, I can kind of give a basic how background of why I started lifting and drinking it didn't get a hold of me yet. That's the issue. When you start picking up, I feel good. My dopamine, my endorphins. This is a high. You're living on the high. It picks up, and it's until you keep going with it that I say alcohol and drugs, it's a human kryptonite like Superman. It's gonna get you. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of time. When is it gonna get you? You know what I mean? It's not possible to live a nice life drinking and drugging. It's impossible. You're committing suicide slowly. It's a slow death. Um, real quick, my dad's here, and I'm very happy he's here, and he just got out of rehab 2 weeks ago. So for him to be here, he's gonna hit 60 days sobriety. And
Congratulations, sir. That's awesome.
next week, I just hit New Year's Eve was 100 days for me. So
Yeah,
today's
good
what,
for
the
you too.
21st, 122 days, 4 months. So Irish Catholic household growing up. My parents were together, right?
And people joke and they kind of praise drinking, right? Irish people, oh man,
Oh man,
how
come on,
much do you drink, bro? Like, oh, you
dude.
must be able to drink me under the table. Like
Mark,
it's a
Mark,
thing, right?
Mark, I grew up with a Budweiser can in my house every night. So subconsciously, that's registering in my brain. That's normal. Budweiser, Bud Heavy, the king of beers, right?
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm used to. No one I'm not living in a different house. Maybe if I lived in your house, I'd come out a different person. It's like you grow up with monkeys in the jungle, 18 years, you're going to be like a monkey. You don't know anything else, right? So that's how a lot of people judge people. And I just, ugh. Get me fired up. You don't fucking know what that person goes through, even in high school. Like, you don't know what they go home to. You have no clue. Like, you don't know anything, and you see comments on Instagram and everything. Like, just make yourself a better person, and slowly things will get better. All these comments and everything, go on a little tangent because I get angry when people drop comments like Cowboy McGregor, right? I see some comments on Cowboy, just retire already. Who the fuck are you to tell Cowboy to retire? Do you know anything? Do you know what I mean? It's like, why? Why even put that out there, because you can't do what he does, and you have an internal problem, and that's a
Right.
problem. No one wants to take responsibility.
Mhm.
So growing up, my dad's been a volunteer fireman for 40 years. My uncle, FDNY, he actually had to retire because 9/11.
Mm.
And my dad's a volunteer fireman, and he was down there at 9/11 the day after, just giving up his time. So growing up in a first responder household, and as a first responder, events, drinking is socially
Mhm.
accepted. It's huge.
And there's a lot of stress of the job.
Right. And if you don't drink, people think you're weird, right? David
Yeah.
Goggins. Look at David Goggins. This guy failed, what, 3 times the Navy SEALs, right? And he talks about in his interview, David says, his platoon commander, or I forgot what his story was, comes up to David and say, hey man, you're not hanging out with us after, you're not partying. And David is, he's one of the top 1%, 0.1% where he knew himself. He's like, I don't have time for that. I need to get better every single day because if I slip up that one day, I'm behind. And it's gonna slow down my process. David didn't, he was smart. He's one of the smartest men in this world. I don't have time for that. It's gonna destroy my life. I'm not going down that path. Elliot Holst talks about it. Elliot, he made a video on drinking that he went out with a buddy for 3 days and they drank. And he's like, oh, this is awesome. He's driving home from work and he mentally is craving a drink. He goes, what the fuck's going on? What is happening to me? This is not me. And he was strong enough to cut it off. And now you're talking about people that are really good in their craft and can able to do that. Most of the population can't do that because it's very powerful. So I grew up, mom's a nurse. Wow, how you doing? My mom's a nurse, and my dad was a from Rockland County. He was
I fucking hate Rockland County, by the way.
there's a lot of rocks in that county.
Well, I'm from Dutchess County,
Not
and
too far away, yeah.
we had just a killer football team. So all growing up, like we didn't have playoffs in football for high school until my senior year, and we had a really fucking good football team. North Rockland was a real bitch. Was a real bitch to try to beat, and what the last year, so my senior year, they set it up to where they finally had a playoff system. We always thought we were like super badass. We're like, anytime they implement playoffs, we're gonna roll over everybody because we were undefeated. I think the whole time I played in high school, I think we lost like once or twice or something like that.
Ooh.
And one of those times was in North Rockland. And the thing that sucks about it is we were playing so well, but we had my fucking coach. I'd tell him every day. I told him, I said, Seth Santos, if you're listening, he's a piece of shit. I was like, he's too fucking slow. He was our defensive back. He was like our safety. And the coach is like, I don't care, man. He's smart. He knows how to get to the ball. And I'm like, man, he runs like a 5.140, or maybe even slower. I'm like, he's going to get burned. We're going to play against a team that has a couple of athletes and we're going to be fucking toast. And that's exactly what happened. They threw one bomb. They threw one giant pass. They didn't do shit the entire game. And they scored one touchdown. They won 6-0. That's it.
That's great. It's funny. It's funny to hear you talk about North Rockland, the team I play against, and
I know.
not too far. It's funny how
it's not that funny.
You still dream about that, don't you?
I still am pissed.
I can tell. Wow.
People like when we were like going back home, like on the bus, like the other teammates they're like, are you gonna kick his ass? And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna kick his ass. I want to really bad. He does need to know that he sucks. So I told him that he sucks, and probably told him that I wish that he would die or something. But
Damn.
He's probably still around. Anyway, we can't get that game back.
That, like anything in life, right? You can't get that back,
No.
man. And it's gonna, and look at that. You remember this? I don't know how old you are, but 20, 30 years ago, right? Yeah. So, yeah. I actually played against your high school as a senior, senior or junior, one of them.
Arlington High School.
Yeah, or RC Ketchum, those son of a bitches, right? One of those teams. I'm trying to remember. So I'm trying to.
Any goddamn way.
Yeah, North Rockland, those Red Raiders, man.
Your dad
water.
Was a volunteer fireman. Your mom's a nurse. Do you feel like you had a good, strong upbringing to kind of avoid some of these things? Avoid alcohol and drugs and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And again, Uncle FDNY, right? And I have a brother who's 4 years younger than me, and he's actually a lot different than me. I'll get into that. But yeah, they did a lot for the town and the community. Everyone knows them in my town. Good, hardworking people. And my dad gave a lot for that town. They went to the same high school together, the same prom. So in my head, right there, it's already envisioning. It's all about where I grew up. This is my small town in Rockland County. And like I was, saying, growing up was good, but in the house, like, you didn't fuck with dad. You didn't fuck with him. Like, Budweiser cans every night, and that's normal. And, I just remember, he says, take the garbage out, right? And Wednesday night, it's got to be out by Thursday. He's like, he comes down and we're playing Xbox, Halo, the original Halo. I was a big World of Warcraft guy. And you can't just get up. You know what I mean? Right? You can't just get up and fucking
pause the game. Like, I can't. You don't understand.
So he comes down and takes the garbage out. I'm like, I'll do it. And he's like, no, fucking take it out right now. And then we get into an argument. Like those little arguments, right? But when he comes down those stairs, right? And he doesn't really, we never really talked about this. So, hey dad. But like when he comes down that stairs and he's going to yell at you about something, what kicks in? The anxiety. So now as a little kid, you start building up anxiety. Oh, what am I going to get yelled at for this time? You know what I mean? So, in my mind, I'm like, as long as the garbage is out by Thursday at 6 o'clock before the garbage guys, if I put it out at 5, 4 in the morning, it's out. I did my job, right? Do your job. So, school was my mom had this little, I'll never forget this little stupid star chart. Every time you get an 80 or higher, you get a star. If you get a 90 or higher or 100, you get 2 stars. So right there, it's putting, like, she don't even know this is putting pressure on me, but it's to make me work hard. Mm-hmm. And I was like this little nerdy kid with glasses.
You'll try anything as a parent. We tried all kinds of different stuff like that too.
I was this little nerdy kid with glasses, and I thank God, and I talk about this. My friend group was solid. I still have the same friends that I went to elementary school with.
That's great.
And that's a big part of my recovery. And my friends know who they are out there, and I'm not going to name them all, but really helped me get through this. And they've been with me. I got 2 buddies. We went to elementary school together, middle school together, high school together, community college together, and dorm together at SUNY Cortland, where the Jets have their training camp.
Yep.
So that's my fucking, I'm 27. So I lived, 20 years with these guys? These are my brothers. I die for them, So that's a big part of my recovery and who you surround yourself with, right? A product of your environment, survival of the fittest, all that stuff. And you learn that early in school is all bullshit. It's real. It's very real. And, recovery, drinking, alcohol, the way you act is contagious. If you're around people that are depressed and don't give a fuck, it's contagious. It's going to hit you. So I was nerdy. You know, I played a lot of video games, which saved me from staying out of trouble. But, you know, growing up outside playing baseball, you know, I born what, 1992? Once that fire alarm went off, you know, go back home, eat dinner, go back out, and we can free play out in the woods, climb, do all this cool stuff. And I was a Boy Scout growing up. I'm actually an Eagle Scout, which is pretty cool. We had a project, but back in high school, freshman year and sophomore year, you know, I was called McLovin, like from Superbad.
Yeah.
I'm 140 pounds, 130 pounds, like, you know, chicka, yeah. And like, that's how everyone in high school knew me as McLovin. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is cool, like talking like McLovin, you know, like it's 10:33, you know what I mean? Like, like all the seniors come up to me, like, yo, McLovin, what's good? And I'm like this little nerdy kid, like, hey, yo, what's
Hey,
up,
any
man?
recognition
Right?
is good, right? Just take what you can get.
So I also played football, you know, freshman year of playing football, right? So I wasn't the most athletic kid, right? You know, talking about, and I was in speech classes. I was in intensive math and English my whole life, 35, 40 minutes extra than slower than the regular, you know, semester and courses. So, you know, I still worked my ass off in school because I would take that test and I feel that anxiety. And I think it came from my mom and my dad. And it's like, I would go up to the teacher and be like, how did I do?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Frank, you just took the test 30 minutes ago. I don't know. So that I can feel myself, you know, getting anxious over these little things which is a good anxiety, you know, because I care. I care how I do. I want to do well, you know, and that's growing up. They put that on me, care to care about who you are and hard work. So I played football freshman year. I wore glasses on the helmet. I was that guy, and played freshman, JV. Then junior year, I took my glasses off, got contacts, put a backwards hat on, and everyone's like, "Oh, what happened? Who is this guy?" I'm like, "Nothing. I just took my glasses off and put a hat on. Like, what the hell?" And then, started getting, I guess, a little more popular, the cool crew and all that stuff, And I didn't change who I was. I was still friends with everyone, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm on the front cover of my yearbook, 2010, and the back cover, and I was like, it kind of sounds like an egotistic maniac, but I take pride in that, When I go back to show my kids, or, hey, there's that on the yearbook. I had most contagious laugh. Like, I used to laugh like a hyena, So I had a great time.
Uh-oh. We got one of those.
Not anymore. I don't think so. I had a great time in high school, and I really stress high school football made me who I am today. It really made me, with my parents, every little factor really contributes into who you are. And Boy Scouts growing up, being one of my good friends through all the Boy Scouts. I did volunteer firefighter for 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
Got to say, I don't do it anymore. I did three and a half years. I got to say I fought two real fires, structure fires, cut people out of cars, and I'm 17, 18-year-old kid like, doing this stuff, being cool. A quick fact, like every firefighter out there with all their gear on is like 75 pounds of extra weight, and any police officer is like 25 pounds with the belt and the vest. So just for people to see really what's going on, you know what I mean? It's like, going out to a strongman show and wearing that vest or that tank, you know what I mean? So junior year, I played wide receiver, split end. We ran for all you football fans, my high school, we run a wing T. So that's, Army, Navy, like disguise.
Just trying to confuse people, and they don't know where the ball is.
Right. And I barely played my junior year, man. But I was called the Scout O captain, because when I was running Scout O, I was busting my balls, because as a scout team, I would tell the guys, listen, we're out there to make them better, but we want their spot, I'm going to go out there and give it 100% every time, because I want that starting spot, And then, really, really enjoyed the community, the family, the team environment of football. And then senior year, I started at split end, and then for defense, I could have played corner or safety. But I said to myself, and I'm lucky I did this because it really helped. I'm like, why would I want to do that? Like, I'm like, I can, but like, you know what? I'm 150 pounds now. I haven't really touched the weight in my life. I'm like, let me play D tackle with the big guys, right? Have fun, make myself better, challenge myself every day, throw myself, get beat up every day. And it helped me in the long run, physically get beat up. I was second string, so if we were up by a lot or down, I had a sack. I led the team with receptions, with 8 receptions in the year. That's insane. My main job was to stalk and crack block. Stalk, basically run up to the corner.
You ran the ball a lot, yeah.
Run up to the corner, hold them, a lot of sweeps, a lot of outside bounces. Or crack block is when you're playing wide receiver or split end, you crack down and hit the outside linebacker. So that was fun, that was my main job. So we, football ended, and I actually won this award called the Nick's the Dream Award. which is a really cool award, which actually gave me more motivation. It was like the most dedicated player on and off the field. Actually, Nick died. I want to say it was a car accident, and he played where I played.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that like scholarship. It came with money, and it was like very prestigious award to me. So I'm 18 years old now. So I got that. I got my Eagle Scout the day before my birthday. I just made it by the hair of my balls. Just made it. I repainted all the fire hydrant markers in my town. You have the fire hydrant, and then the fire hydrant has like a reflector. So like the snow, the debris, the rain, it shows like basically an outline of the hydrant. You know, blue spackle paint.
Mm-hmm.
And we went around every fire hydrant besides state roads and repainted that. So did that, graduated high school, went to community college, Rockland Community College. And now I'm drinking a little bit, you know, on the weekends. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Hanging out with my friends. Some friends went away. Quinnipiac, Albany, you know, different schools. And I stayed at home. Best thing I ever did. Because if I went away when I was 18, forget about it. I would have been right back home. And going to RCC, I did criminal justice. Oh, I don't want to burp in the mic. And so I did criminal justice. But there was a part of me, I was missing something. I was missing something in my life. And I was like, what is it? You know, I'm searching deep down. Let me go back. Before I got into basically weightlifting, I picked up P90X my senior year
Oh yeah.
of high school. Tony Horton, right? I'll
Tony
never
Horton.
forget it. I love it, but I hate it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And anyone that wants to work out, right? We talk about lifting, getting into powerlifting, getting into CrossFit, getting into strongman. It's like, oh, I want to squat and deadlift. Like, dude, can you perform these basic function movement first? Like, you know, Chris Duff and I just listen to that podcast is great. Can you perform a squat, right? And can you do this stuff? It's like, thank God I had that football background where I used my body a lot, right? And then P90X, all you're doing is body weight stuff, you
Yep.
know? So it definitely helped me a lot. And then as I'm in community college, criminal justice, still a fireman at the time, I'm like, I'm missing football. This is what I'm missing. I need this. Like, there's a difference between a need and a want. In my mind, I was like, I need it.
Mhm.
So I went to my old football coach. I said, hey, Matt, he went to SUNY Cortland. I said, I need to play football. You know, I can do this. Not that I think I can. I know I can do this, but I just need some guidance. And I was very lucky that instead of going to the guys I hung out with or younger, I went up to a lot of guys older than me for advice. Like, hey, man, you've already been here in your life. You know, if I go down this path, what would you do? You know, and go from there. So I'm very lucky. I love going to talk to an older person and see their life experience. Like, hey, how'd you get here? You know, like what did you really go through? So Matt said, all right, come to my house. Went to his house. We made a plan, written it down, like Mark's writing down what we're going to do from April to the tryouts. And it was like and that's when I really started listening to all the motivation stuff. They had an app called 8-Tracks. I don't know if you remember 8-Tracks. I would play 8-Tracks. It's like a Pandora.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, bodybuilding motivation. Every morning I wake up, every night before bed. Corey Gregory he used to be Muscle Farm. All these different, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, everyone. And I was a big wrestling fan growing up, huge. The Rock, just different things. And it just subconsciously hit me in the brain. And I was like, all right, now I got a goal. Let's put in the work, and I have a vision. It all starts with a vision. All right, I can see myself playing college football, and it starts from there, and then we build. 150 days straight, no drinking, no cheat meals, perfect diet. I would wake up, show up at 6 o'clock at my old high school, work out with Matt, and we did the program Bigger, Faster, Stronger. I still remember the program. 5x5. On the fifth set, 5 plus, as many as you can, right? 3x3. This is the next week. And it did, Monday was bench, towel bench and box squat. Wednesday was power clean and hex bar deadlift. Friday was regular squat, regular bench. So you would do 5x5, 5x5, 5x5.
Every like high school and the football team in the country was doing those workouts.
Right. And that's when it kind of started getting new when I was in 2010, 2011. That's what we were first saw it. So 5x5, last set, right? Give it all you got. 3x3 next week. Third set, break that, right? And then you're calculating your one, you know, and then it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then it was a 10, 8, 6. That was rep scheme. Rep scheme, no deload really. So then I had a booklet. You go back and you see what I did last week. All right, if I did, you know, 5x5 at 185 on the bench, then, you know, I want to try to get this week 190, or maybe on my last 5th set, I got 6 reps, maybe I can get 7, you know? And I'll tell you what, I mean, I would consider myself now average. I'm not, you know, super strong. I'm like average in the weightlifting world, you know? And just following that program, waking up, going to the weight room, showering there after the lift, going to RCC, doing my classes, going to Premier Fitness, which was a big gym over in Rockland County. Then I met with a speed and agility coach 2 days a week. I had to talk to my manager at ShopRite, say, hey, I want to play college football. I need my hours cut down to 10 hours, 12 hours a week. Working at ShopRite. And even when I was in ShopRite, I wanted to be the best I can. I started at the register, and then all of a sudden I'm doing like the meat, I'm doing the frozen, I'm doing the dairy, I'm all over the place. I'm like, all right, because if you're in a place and a lot of people bitch and moan, oh, this job sucks, right? Well, just try to do the best you can and be the best at it, so time will go faster. You bitch and moan, just leave. Like, why are you in this job if you hate it so much? Just fucking leave. I was so baffled. I'm like, I'm baffled. It's like, you just complain. You're feeding yourself negativity. You know what I mean? It's just like, you don't have time for that. Then
Right.
you become negative. So my bench was 225. I was 165. I stayed the same body weight every day. I got a nutritionist, and it's crazy. I still remember my meal plan every day. Wake up, Special K, almond milk, 15 almonds, and half a banana.
15 almonds?
15 almonds.
Okay.
2 Chobani yogurts during class every morning. Whole wheat bread, turkey, 6 ounces of turkey with an apple. Then a shake, whatever, whey protein or whatever. And then basically a meat of my choice, chicken, steak, salmon, any cup of green I want, and any carb I want. I was a big sweet potato fry guy. Sweet potato fry, sweet potato, rice, brown rice, and 150 days, and my bench went from 225 for one to 275 for one, and 162 pounds. I didn't gain a pound, but I got shredded up. I looked like a freaking sprinter. And then my coach also said, you need to run a mile every day, no matter what happens. Like if it's a snowstorm, you got to run a mile. And I got like addicted to that, and I could see the addictive personality. I felt guilty, right? Recovery, guilt and shame. I felt guilty if I didn't get that mile in. A mile would turn to 1 to 2 to 3.
At this point, you weren't drinking at all.
Yeah, I'm clean. I'm 150 days. I'm so focused. Cortland, SUNY Cortland football. I'm walking on. This is my goal. This is it. I'm 20 years old. I lived these 20 years for this fucking moment. If I don't get this, I'm crushed, So there's, this in my mind, and everyone knew if we were at a party, they would joke around, Frank, one sip. And I was like, get this out, get this fucking thing away from me, because I knew I would leave parties early to go get the muscle milk at the DB Mart because it was closing.
Yeah.
People bust my balls up. There goes Frank. Got to get the muscle milk. But it was, it's all fun and games, but they knew how focused I was. But just like talking about it, people don't understand the work I had to put in for 4.5 months of just attaining this goal, putting in this work every fucking day. Hearing Mark Voigt, hearing Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just still remember it going back. The guy who's talking, I forgot him. He talks about Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, and I'm running around the track, and this is what I'm listening to. I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to these fucking motivational workout things. So subconsciously, it's registering. And so 225 to 275 on my bench. My squat, that was 50 pounds. My squat and my deadlift, I gained about probably over 100 pounds on each because I really wasn't doing it as much, so I'm new. Got 325 squat, and my deadlift, I've always been a good deadlifter. I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe hex bar 445, 450.
Nice.
Didn't really do a lot of straight bar, but I was doing a lot of box squat. I remember doing box squats like 405 for 5, 6, 7 reps, hitting 500 on a box squat. Probably not at parallel, but just above parallel. But just as a young kid to have 500 pounds on your back, getting it up, you feel like you're on top of the world. So I go to SUNY Cortland, and my 2 buddies I told you I grew up with, they're there. They're at my tryouts. They're like, Frank, you look crisp, And I'm like, big motivation in my life, Tim Tebow. That guy really got me through a lot, And Arnold Schwarzenegger says when he was a kid, he had pictures on his wall of people he admired. So I got to do this. Arnold did it. I got to do it. So I printed out a picture of Tim Tebow. Sorry, Mark, you didn't make the cut. You're off the team. No, I'm kidding. Tim Tebow, Brian Dawkins, one of my favorite safeties, played for the Eagles. The Rock, Derek Jeter, and who else is on there? Someone else is on there. Oh, shit, I'm forgetting. But every morning I woke up, I saw that, and that was motivation for me. And I walked on, and I made the team as a defensive back. Now I really, I played, remember my senior year, I played D-tackle. I didn't really play corner in a long time. So I walked on, and very strict schedule. I'm part of the team. Just library hours. Can't go out on Friday nights. But I was focused. This is my goal. I made it, right? And then I start realizing, like, fuck, I'm playing scout defense. That year we won the NJAC. I got a ring. Really cool. These guys were like the best of the best. Division III, but SUNY Cortland is a very competitive sports school. And I was going out each week busting my ass, just to try to And I realized like these guys came from years and years. They've been on the team for 2, 3 years. I'm a junior now. I walked on as a junior. So they have a thing called special forces. Basically, the scout player of the team each week gets a shirt. My last week against a lot like what we had in playoffs, I got that shirt. So there you go. There's a huge honor. Wow. So I made the team and I got that cool shirt. It says Special Forces, and that meant a lot to me. That I was recognized for putting that hard work in, and doing my goal and getting there. So then football ended, and that's where I came in, and we just let off to the races every weekend, going out. Now I'm friends with the football guys. Now we're going out. We're having a good time. It's just what everyone does, in college. You drink, but it didn't affect my life yet. I was in the gym. I was doing everything. I was doing the workouts. I was studying my ass off. I was doing it. It wasn't affecting my life. So in my head, I'm okay. It's not affecting my life right now. Senior year, I ended up stopping playing football. I saw two guys blow their ACL out right in front of me. I said, "Wow, Frank, that happens to you and you're playing special teams or Scout D. You'll never be a cop, never." So I put it off. I said, "You know what? Football taught me a great lesson: hard work, dedication, discipline. I'll take that with me for the rest of my life. Put it away." Senior year, and then I enjoyed the rest of my senior year and graduated criminology degree. I thought I was going to school for criminal justice. I'm sitting in senior year, they're like, "Oh, you're doing a criminology degree." That's so focused and wrapped up where I was in football. I don't even know what degree I'm doing. I didn't care. And I said, I raised my hand and said, "Oh shit, I thought this was criminal justice. No wonder why we're not learning about the law. We're learning out how people, the psychologically and sociology, how people, why they commit the crimes, why they do this, what happens when they go in jail, all that stuff." So it was really cool. But then I graduated. I had like a 3.5. So in high school, I graduated 2.9. That's barely average. Went away to RCC, community college, 3.7, 3.6, and then I graduated Cortland with a 3.4 or 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
So, I bust my ass every day in that library. Everyone knew where to find me. I was in that library studying 3-4 hours a day, working out, and that kept me grounded through the week. But on the weekends came Saturday, Sunday, hanging out with the guys and drinking. And that's like the early ages of of my life.
Oh, you're like 21, 20?
Yeah, I graduated at 20. I graduated on my birthday. 2022 I graduated at.
22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any more water?
Yeah, we'll get you
All
some.
right, thanks. Sorry for that.
No problem. So when did the drinking start to become a problem? And if you look back, I'm sure that most alcoholics will say, it was a problem from the beginning. But
Right.
where did you really have this realization of like, oh man, like I can't really drink the way the other people can, and like shut it off, kind of thing.
And that's what you just hit it on the park. You just hit it out of the park, Mark. You're like, when did I realize it was a problem? Well, fuck, it's been a problem since the beginning.
Right.
You just don't you don't know, because it's not affecting you yet. Like I said, the first few years, it's great. You're having fun. You're doing this. You're meeting different people. It's a cool thing to do. Well, like cool kids are doing it.
Yep. Yeah.
So I graduate. I didn't work for a year, and then 2015, I got into the police academy in New York City. Now it's like, oh, I made another part of my dream, my goal, right? I made it, and first 6 months you do. Now, if you like think about it as like how much this will affect your training as well. I did 2 months of 4 to 12 hours, 2 months of midnights, 2 months of days, right? That affects your training, your life. Now you want to meet, you're trying to prove, like for me, you get to a new place, you want to prove that you're a good person, you're a hard worker. And what are all the guys doing? 4 to 12s, they call it 4 to 4s. You start work at 4, you get off at 12, you're out to the bar till 4 in the morning. That's a 4 to 4 shift.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that much, honestly. Thank God. But a lot of guys were. And we would go out and everything. And again, drinking on the weekends didn't affect my work, didn't affect my training in my head. And now I'm like 185 pounds doing powerlifting, getting into powerlifting. And it didn't really affect me in my mind, right? I'm training. And I got so obsessed with a 600-pound deadlift at 185. That's all I cared about. I didn't care about anything else. But yet I was still drinking. And I didn't care about relationships. Like, I need this 600-pound deadlift at 185 pounds. Like, I just, to me, that's what I need. That's what I want. And that's the addict coming out in me. So I did a show in Ithaca, New York, and I did 181. And I'm like, wow, if I hit these numbers at 165, I was so obsessed with this powerlifting watch, the website.
Mm-hmm.
I can be top 50 at 165. So I cut 20 pounds in 19 days by myself and weighed in at 165, hit my 3 squats, bombed the rest of the meet. But just that motivation and that discipline to lose 20 pounds in 19 days, right? Usually before a show, I wouldn't drink for a month. So now I'm like 23, right? Wouldn't drink to a month, and anyone in recovery or any alcoholic and addict thinks like, oh, well, if I give it up for a week or two, I'll be okay, and then I can get back to my life. So I patrol the streets of the South Bronx for 2.5 years. Love it. No problems. Great. It's about the camaraderie. I love being with the guys more than anything. Just joking around, having fun. I could trust them. It was therapy in itself. I was just talking to Jess. I said, I've never done a podcast before, but when you're talking to your partner in the car, you're doing your own podcast. You don't even know, and it's therapy in yourself talking about, we don't even talk about work stuff in the car. We talk about everyday life stuff.
Yeah.
Which is great to have, and you have that good partner, man. That's like your brother. You know what I mean? So now you know my background. Rockland County has their own police department. And as a kid, subconsciously, this is where you want to go. This is where you want to be. So I knew I was good. I had a good memory for a test taker, but I wasn't really, as I said, I was in intensive classes. So, all right, I'll take this Rockland County police test. But I had to hire an SAT tutor. I ended up buying a course, $150, to study this, to literally memorize the way of the test, because it was like an SAT. They only pick like the top. They want smart people in there. So, studied. I ended up getting a 95. Oh shit! How'd you do it, Frank? I couldn't believe it. My dream's coming true. I want to be a Rockland County cop. 2 years in the Bronx. I made it. 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Little do I know that it changed my life. That day, I'd sworn in Rockland County Police, changed my life for the rest of my life, and why am I even on this podcast today? And it saved my life to recognize really who I am. I get there, go through the field training program, this is 2018 now. Sitting in the car, I'm by myself. So NYPD, you're double patrol, right? Here in Rockland, you're single, by yourself. Everyone knows you. You know everybody. And I'm like, oh shit, Frank. Am I really going to be, this is my thought and my reasoning behind it. Am I really going to be in a car by myself for 8 hours? You don't know who the fuck you are until you're in a car 8 hours by yourself, dealing with yourself. It's you versus you. This is your life. It's you versus you. Don't give a fuck about anyone else, because once you get yourself better and realize what issues you have, you can help those people with those issues. But until you take responsibility, you don't know. And when I went there, that's when I knew I had to take responsibility for my life. So I'm like, solo patrol, 20 years. NYPD has over 300 units.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Rockland County, a lot of guys do patrol for the whole career. The human psyche is not supposed to see what a cop sees for 20 years straight. Do you know what I mean? You're by yourself. You're dealing with the same thing every day. People don't respect you. They don't know what we go through. You sign up for this. I hate that. Oh, you signed up for this. Most cops sign up because they want to help people. They want to do the right thing, right? Do the right thing. So I said, Frank, you got to go back. You got to go back to the city. People are going to say you're nuts. Told my family, they lost their mind.
Why is that such a crazy thing to do?
It's like, how do I say this? I don't know. It's like making like the Patriots and going back to the Browns. You know what I mean? So because it's so close to home, it's safer, it's more money, it's just realistically stable for a great family and a great life. I didn't be a cop to make money, right? I became a cop for the life experience and to keep me focused and to keep me motivated, to keep me. There's no life experiences you'll get at being an NYPD police officer in this world, coming around with cultures all over the round, learning really how cultures really act and how people really, interact in this world. So I got to go back. They lost their shit, making the wrong choice. My mom, Italian mom, oh, she had a freaking panic attacks all the time. So I'm like, oh, great. Then people at work found out, oh, you're crazy. Dude, you're going to ruin your life if you go back. I'm 25. I'm taking that shit to heart. So now I'm sitting in the car and I start getting these panic attacks. I never got in my life. And I'm like, fuck, what's going on? My throat would close. My heart would rate fast. Here I am. I'm doing patrol, answering jobs. And I'm dealing with this now. I'm like, fuck. Never happened in playing football. Never happened in the Bronx. Try to ignore it. Tell my girlfriend at the time. Tell my parents. And then people, they don't know really what's going on. Because my body was rejecting this. But I was able, I guess I was smart enough to realize it, that I want to go back to the city because this is what I'm used to. This is what I enjoy better. So in my head, I made it like the live all or be all. Like, am I an asshole for leaving this job to go back to New York City? Because a lot of people also don't like being a New York City cop. There's a lot. It's very stressful. You know, you work 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 3 days off. You don't even know when you're going to get overtime. You're working holidays. You know, you lose a lot of part of your life, your family time. But to me, I never had a problem. NYPD treated me great. So in my mind, I'm like, I got to go back. You have a year. If you leave NYPD, you have a year to go back. If you go to a different department, you have a year to go back. If you retire and you're like, shit, I don't like my wife, I'm at home, I don't know what to do, I can go back. So holding that in around February, I got in January of 2018. February, March, I started realizing this wasn't for me. People were like, give it more time, Frank, give it more time. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I fucking know this is not for me. It's like my own torture chamber. And it shouldn't be, because it's not a bad job. And all the guys, you know, they were good guys, but they weren't like the NYPD guys. Not, you know, they treated me well, no problem. So the anxiety starts building up, untreated. Now I lost 20 pounds in a month and a half. I'm looking at myself and I'm like, fuck. I'm back to where I started before college football. I'm 163 pounds. I'm weak as shit. I would say to myself, my old pre-college football Frank would beat the shit out of this Frank right now. My old version of myself. And people are realizing, dude, you're losing a lot of weight. What's going on? I'm like, oh, no, I'm okay. You know, I stopped working out. Got rid of my social media. Drank green tea in the car. I couldn't eat. And this is not me. You know, I told you kind of who I was before, so this is not me. And then my family was like, you should see someone. Huh. I'm a cop. I play college football. How can I see somebody? You know, it's just so frowned upon. Months go on. April of 2018, I saw someone, a nurse practitioner, and I had a conversation, like just how I explained my life to you guys. I saw her for about 50 minutes, and she goes, Frank, and now I'm telling her what's happening. What's happening is, right now I'm telling you guys basic traits of depression and anxiety, you know, loneliness, you know, getting away of my social media, not wanting to be seen, weight loss. And during this time, I realized I started drinking by myself. I never drank by myself. I drank socially. I didn't drink because I was upset or depressed, but I was coping. That was my coping mechanism. So I tell her, and she goes, Frank, you have OCD of intrusive thoughts. And I go, intrusive thoughts? Do you guys know what an intrusive thought is?
Never heard of it before.
So OCD of intrusive thoughts is, if you, might get a little graphic, if you see a little kid on the street and you're like, oh man, like sexually attracted to that little kid, it's, oh, why am I having this thought? You catch it. It's an intrusive thought. It's coming into your brain. Or I walked by a school and I want to burn this school down. That's an intrusive thought. Something like that, for example. In my head, I'm like, I need to just make a decision in my life, but now I'm getting stuck. You know, like the Punisher, Frank Castle, what did you say? Like, make a decision, right or wrong, or right or left, right or wrong, crunchy or soft. Like, just make the decision, stick with it, see what happens, and go from there. Like, all right, if it wasn't the right decision, I can regroup, and I can say, all right, Frank, what did I do wrong this time for this decision? Let me learn from that. And a lot of people have a hard time learning from that and accepting it. So I said, okay, OCD, intrusive thoughts. I'm telling you, depression, panic attacks. You know, I'm a little fucked up, you know, but I'm still going to work. She said, all right, this is where it all started going downhill. Here's Prozac and Seroquel. Oh, these are the drugs from the 1980s that just started being, you know, the original SSRI. I'm like, all right, because I told her I couldn't sleep. You know, I wasn't sleeping. My mind was racing, I was telling her, because all the thoughts in my head about what should I do? This is my life here. I worked so hard to get to this point. This is my life. If I stay here, if I go there, what can happen? So I did get obsessed with the decision making. So, all right, I take these drugs. These are drugs and powerful stuff. And that is when the really deep, dark thoughts started kicking in that I don't really want to talk about, right? But they're deep. And now I'm like, all right, now I'm worse. You know, now that I'm not eating, I'm not working out, now I'm on drugs. And the only drug I ever took in my life was alcohol, right? This is not me. Now I'm really fucked. I'm in a deep hole.
And you're drinking along with these drugs too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. It's like, all right. So I'm going to work. You know, I call out sick. You know, and some guys are like, oh, you're like, NYPD has unlimited sick. You can call out sick for as long as you want. In Rockland County, you don't have that. You built sick days. So I was using sick days in the beginning. I felt bad. I just got this job. I don't want, people think I'm fucked up or whatever. And I tell her, I'm like, listen, this is probably like May, June of 2018. I'm like, listen, this is making me worse. I'm realizing this is not right. She's like, all right, let's take you off the Prozac and the Seroquel. Let's put you on Zoloft. I'm like, oh, another SSRI. All right, you're the person, right? I don't know this, But as I go through this, I learned so much now. I'm like, all right, I take the Zoloft. Now I'm going into the car. I'm going in the RMP. I'm logging into the computer. It's taking me 10 minutes just to log in. I'm sweating. You ever see that meme from Keenan and Peele, whatever, when he's really sweating and stuff like that? And you're like, oh shit, I'm caught. That's how I was that's how I was every day.
Mm-hmm.
But now the depression's really kicking in. Basic depression, brain fog. I can't remember anything. I'm not even brushing my teeth. I'm not taking showers. This is depression. But I'm at work. I'm answering the radio runs. I'm trying to hide it. I'm trying to do the best I can. Let me just get through this job. Let me just get through this hour. That's recovery. A minute, a second, a day at a time, an hour at a time, right? So I tell her these things. I'm making it worse. I go back. All right, let's up the Zoloft. Up the Zoloft now. So now I'm like, oh, fuck, now I'm really like, well, who am I? I'm a walking zombie. Remember, I got rid of my social media. No one really sees. The only poor people that are seeing this is my girlfriend at the time and my family. I'm not me. I'm a walking zombie, man. I'm better off fucking doing an 8-ball of fucking crack or something to keep me going. That's in my mind, Obviously, I'm kidding, but that's how I felt, man. So when you're depressed, you don't really control those thoughts, right? Those thoughts aren't really you, right? That's the depression talking. Those are the demons talking. So when people when people cut themselves, it's because they can't feel. They want to try to feel something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, I never cut myself, but I'm just giving an example that those thoughts are the depression talking. And it's really, when I was growing up in high school football, I was like, depression's bullshit. How can people be depressed for a month, a year? It's the crazy. Really, how bad is life?
Yeah, well, also at that age, you're not.
And I was just about to say, I'm a little kid. I don't fucking know shit.
Yeah, you're not fully developed. Your brain's not fully developed.
Right. So the male usually fully develops around 26, and the female will develop around 25. So, and I'm 27 now, but this is like, now I know who I am from this process as I go on. And again, I'm a young kid. I'm still a young kid. I'm 20. I'm 27, right? The Rock, he says, I didn't know shit in my 20s. I don't know who I am. You really can't say much. In his 30s, I'm kind of getting to know who I am. And in my 40s, I really feel comfortable in my skin. So all these people out there listening, it takes time. It takes years of development to really figure out what you're good at and who you are. What's your purpose, right? It's all about, why am I here? So we're back to Zoloft. Tell her, all right, let's put you on Wellbutrin. Now I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm a lab rat. I have all these medications pumped into me. And it's like, what is it now? June? July? In 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, and I asked her, I'm like, can I drink? She goes, if you have 1 or 2 drinks. And now you tell an alcoholic that, off to the races.
Dang.
Was there any conversation about other options? Was there any conversation about, nutrition or exercise or anything like that?
Well, that's the basic. And I told them my story. I was a big powerlifting, football. I always ate clean. And I just, Mark, I just couldn't do it, man. I couldn't eat, man. It was crazy. That's why I was drinking the green tea and maybe like a green smoothie with protein. That's what my body would just, and I would throw up before work all the time. The anxiety was that bad. I'm puking. I'm out of the fucking patrol car. I'm puking on the side of the street. That's how bad it was. So I know these things, but it was so I couldn't just do it.
Right, but the person that gave you the drugs, the doctor or whatever,
right.
Did they talk about
A little bit, yeah.
any other options or anything? That's good.
Yeah. But the Wellbutrin was like the last call for me, man. I'm all like, I'm not me anymore. I'm just fading away like a sheet in the wind.
Did you talk to anybody else about this, or only to the practitioner you were talking to?
I had a therapist at the time, and we talked for months. And I would go in there and I would say the same thing every day. Rockland or NYPD, every day. And he knew I was very depressed. So then, I don't know. It's just a touchy subject, because this is where I could have gotten different help, And my therapist at the time, he's great. I'm still in contact. Great guy. Helps me out a lot. He's been in recovery for 35 years, maybe longer. But I cut off the Wellbutrin, cold turkey, and you can't do that. Can't. And I try to substitute that with alcohol. So now I wake up one morning and everything's black and gray. I don't feel anything. I don't see anything. And I went on that all summer of 2018. I can't feel. And here's a kid that grew up with the greatest parents, greatest family, playing football, feeling emotions, living life, getting high on life. And I'm like, wow, this might be it. Fuck it. I made my football. I made all these goals that I wanted in my life. What else is left? You know? And got, major depressive disorder. So then kept working, fucking depressed. And I took a lot of things to heart. But when you're in a depression like that and you're in some type of like trauma or emotional trauma, you start thinking about your life, your past. What should I have done? What could I have done different? If I would have just done this, this is what it went different. So now all my stuff is building up. And my dad was very sick at the time too. So now here I am coming home, to an alcoholic father. I'm literally watching him die in front of me. And that's bothering me too a lot. So, yeah, I was really at that point where giving up. And I never gave up my life, and that's for me. That's personally, that just makes me feel good. So I said, my aunt, she's an ENT, ears, nose, and throat doctor at Lincoln Hospital in the Bronx. I'm one of 3 doctors there. She said, Frank, you need to check yourself into a hospital. And I said, if I do that, I'll never be a cop. They're going to think I'm crazy. So then when you're depressed, you start you're thinking you're crazy. You're thinking you're a bad person. Something went wrong. You feel worthless. You feel like a piece of shit. Like, why, everything I did in life, fuck it. It didn't matter. I said, okay, what do I got to lose at this point, right? I was all drugged up like a lab rat in my mind. I don't enjoy life. I'm going to work, but I'm not enjoying my job. My girlfriend's getting very sick at the time. Very sick. She started getting, it's contagious. So we ended up breaking up. And then I got really, really even more, depressed. Like, I lost her. It's all, I wanted to stay at this job to kind of keep her with me, make the money, the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, all right, your man's broken. Got to just man up and do it. I'll go. Go to New York Presbyterian Hospital in Manhattan. Go there, have an interview with the doctors. I kind of tell them a little bit of my story. Like, Frank, okay. Very depressed. Yes, okay. I know, okay. What can you tell me to help me? I just went through all these medications, all this stuff. I feel like nothing can help me. I'm done. This is my mindset. We'll send you to the White Plains Hospital. I'm like, all right. What? Okay, sign the paper. Go to White Plains. And now I'm very happy. I can joke around this. I go to White Plains. I get out. Start taking my shoes off. They take my shoelaces off. And now I'm a cop. I know. Oh, fuck. I'm being put in a psych ward, man. 2 birds in a cuckoo nest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't know this is what I'm getting myself into. Can't leave. Mental health, law. Can't leave. You got to leave when the doctors see you. So now I have really no choice. In my head, I'm like, all right, Frank, you worked your balls off. You're not a cop anymore. You're done. Who's going to want you to do this? You just went all through all this. You can't be a cop. That's my mindset. I don't know anything else about being a cop. What else can I do in this life? In my mind, I was like, all right, I was put here to help people. This is the best way I can help people and I enjoy it. 6 weeks in that psych ward. And I say psych ward and, it's very embarrassing to say to me, but now I'm like, you got to be proud of, I guess, where I came from. 6 weeks. The floor was maybe, I don't know, 50 feet vertical and like an L, another 50 feet. Now it's like a jail. The windows are shut.
Mm-hmm.
People in there, they don't like cops. I can't tell anybody. Very sick people, psychosis, schizophrenic, very, very sick people. I'm depressed. I'm just depressed in my head. I'm just depressed. Doctors come in, see me for 10 minutes, prescribe me a medication called Effexor. Here we go, back on a medication. See you later. Oh, what do you mean? Now what do I do? Got 23 hours left in the day. I don't walked around, met people, talked to them. A lot of intellectual people in there about their life. But they talk. There's no therapy one-on-one. There wasn't anything like that. So I'm walking up these halls. I met this girl. I shit you not, it's a true story. She has a book on her head. She's walking like this through the hall. You can't make this up. She's walking through the hall, and I'm just like, holy shit. I start talking to her. She goes, yeah, I got cameras in my eyes. Be careful what you say. And she's being serious. She's a really sick person. I walked up and down those halls for her for about 2-3 hours, talking, learning about her life. And it kept me busy. You know, we got outside when they let us to come outside 30 minutes a day playing basketball with these guys, just meeting people. And you can't make this up. I'm in the psych ward, and this guy named Stewie comes up to me. He goes, I know you. I go, yeah, I know you too, man. He goes, you gave me $20, man. You drive a silver car. I go, holy shit. I do drive a silver car. And I did give you $20. You're the guy that sits at McCombs Bridge by Yankee Stadium. He goes, that's me. I said, holy shit, I probably give this guy $20, homeless guy, Stewie, about a year ago. And I meet him and he's in the psych ward. So I had a good roommate, Nick. This guy was this Italian guy cracking jokes. He's like, all right, Frank, let's put the miles on today, man. Let's go. Walk up and down the hall. Let's get those miles on. You know, we're like a one-man aircraft in here, you know, making jokes. And you try to, can't really laugh. And, you know, there's phones there and there's a line for the phone and you only get a certain amount of time on the phone. It was like a prison. Another woman comes in. And I look at her. I'm like, where do I know her from? You know, I know this girl. Holy shit, Frank. You took a knife out of her hand on a police job. And, you know, she's very sick, schizophrenic and psychotic episodes. So now it's like, I feel like it's like the book, 5 People You Meet in Heaven. You ever read that? Very good book. You know, this guy who goes into heaven and 5 people in his life that he came across. My family would visit me. Everyone would visit me. And I knew it was hurting them because here I am and they're seeing me in a psych ward. Who wants to do that? So I'm there for about 2 to 3 weeks. I get out. I go, holy shit, nothing changed. Nothing happened. I'm still depressed.
And you still having to take Effexor?
Mm-hmm. I'm on Effexor. So I'm like, all right, go back in. You know, I got to go back and tell them, hey, listen, I got to man up. Hey, I'm drinking. I'm coping with this. Because I didn't say that the first time. All right. Now we know they gave me this book. And I look at this book. The big book, you know, AA. Frank, just read the doctor's opinion, the first chapter. All right. And I read it. I'm like, holy shit. This is me. You know? Guilt, shame. You're not a bad person, Frank, but you're feeling guilty. You're feeling, you know. I'm like, all right. They're like, all right, Frank, we're going to send you to our rehab downstairs. So 2 weeks in rehab. And, you know, I didn't have a choice. I'm still with NYPD. I'm like, all right, I still got my job, you know. All right, there's a little hope at the end of the tunnel. And the 2 professors they're great. They start teaching you the effects of the alcohol, the effects of the drugs, you know, how it affects you psychologically, your family. When you go on a date, and you go on a first date trying to make that impression, you shouldn't be like, oh, I made all these achievements. Hey, my name is Frank. I'm an alcoholic. I suffer from depression and anxiety. Like, you know, I had a situational depression and major depressive disorder. Hey, nice to meet you. Just so you know what you're getting yourself into. Because you can bullshit all you want. 2, 3, 4 months later, then they find out the real you, and it's a waste of time. You know, just man up and say it. So I do the rehab. It was good. I felt a little better. Came out. And then, you know, it's very hard for me to say, but when you're on that medication, and every cop, law enforcement knows that protocol, they take away your gun and your shield. It's like taking your balls away. And that's why I held in for 10 months, not to come out and say, let me try to beat this by myself. Had to go down to Queens, meet with the doctor there, tell her my situation. She's like, yeah, you're very depressed. I said, I know. So then I did like, she's like, we recommend you stay in like an IOP, you know, more work, see someone. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this, you know. So about, I don't know, this is like, I got out of rehab a year ago. I mean, I got out of the rehab in New York Presbyterian a year ago today, around there. So I'm going along, chugging along, trying the best I can, going to these groups, and I'm like, this is a waste of time. I still feel the same. This is not helping me. I think I need to go away to like an inpatient. And then I told the doctor, they sent me to the alcohol unit, you know, and they said, you know, you're depressed. You're not really, you're coping to drink. And, you know, I said, yeah, I know. I know I have an issue. So I went to the doctor probably February of 2019 we're now. I said, listen, I need to go away, but I want to go away to my inpatient, my farm, we call it in law enforcement, the farm. Oh, if you go to the farm, man, stay away from that guy, right? And mostly you go to the farm if you get a DWI, domestic abuse, You kind of just get into a drunken all through the incident, and they send you to the farm.
And it's all cops at this farm place?
It depends. Usually no,
No.
but where I went to, which changed my life, which I was getting into, was everyday people.
Okay.
But sometimes they do send you to a farm that's just like, firefighters, cops, and stuff like that. So my mom and my dad, and we did a lot of research. And you remember, I'm still not talking to my friends really, It's like me and Mark, let's say we're friends for 30 years. I say, hey, Mark, this is my advice, NYPD or Rockland. You give me your advice. Month goes on, I'm saying you the same question. 2 months goes on, and you're just like, Frank, I got my own shit. I got my own problems to worry about, man. So I felt bad just hammering my friends with this. It's like a broken record, same thing going over again. So I kind of try to stop talking about it. Some friends really stuck by me, and they little do they know they saved my life because you can't do this alone.
Mm.
So we went up and looked up High Watch Recovery Center in Kent, Connecticut, middle of Connecticut. Didn't even know it existed. And it saved my life. Went there, told the job. The job said, okay, we want you to get better. So now I'm getting a little more confidence. All right, they're not really, NYPD, they're there for me. And that's why I wanted to talk to, get more. They were there for me. They didn't just say, all right, Frank, see you later, See ya. Because, if I never had this never felt depressed or this anxious before. It was a situational depression that turned into a major depressive disorder, It's not like I just woke up one day and was like, oh man, I'm really depressed. And that happens to people. And I feel really bad for them because they don't know what they did,
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the most misunderstood thing is about depression?
20% of people, everyday people, they are diagnosed with depression, PTSD, anxiety. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one of us in here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a common thing, man. Law enforcement, 30%, that goes up 10%, 30% of law enforcement and first responders are affected by PTSD, anxiety, and depression. So if you're depressed, people are like, oh, stay away from this guy, whatever. Well, again, you don't know what's going on. I think everyone's going to get depressed in their lifetime. It could be a day, it could be a few hours. It's a part of the human brain. It's emotional. It's part of nature. It's a coping mechanism, right? But how far are you going to take that? How far are you going to take that depression and realize what the main source is? So it's very common. It's common. And if, people don't want to admit it or not, but it's real.
So what is it at the farm that changed your life? What changed there, or what did you do there?
6 weeks away. So now we're in February of 2019, all of March, middle of April of 2019. Everyday people, lawyers, cops, businessmen, millionaire businessmen, people in construction, people that have been on the streets for 20, 30 years. You hear their stories. You talk. It was like going to class every single day, learning about AA, learning about recovery, having a therapist to help you work through stuff once a week you would meet, not just, And I was in a dorm with 14 guys. It was like I was back in college. We joked around. We laughed. We got through it together because you can't get through this by yourself. It was together we got through this. And they put me on Trintalex. So here I am on another medication. So now I'm Effexor and Trintalex. So I'm still medicated up. But I knew in my head, I'm like, I got to get better. I got to get off this stuff because it's not me. So I went from 165 pounds to 185 pounds. On this medication, I went to 215 pounds. I've been trying to chase 200 pounds, not working out my whole life. I can't even get to 200 pounds. Now I'm 215 pounds when I leave the farm. But my spirits are high. So I go back to the job, interview, tell them. They put me back out, in my precinct. And then they send me to a different unit. And it was one of the best decisions I got. I'm in a unit now. And I met a lot of good people, a lot of nice people. And they're really there for me and opened the doors for a lot of people down my road in my career. So I got out of rehab in the farm and still, picked up a few times. And I said to myself, all right, it's bad. Really bad. You have an issue. You're guilty. You're shame. And, pick up a few times. It'll be all right. And September of 2019 was the last time I ever picked up a drink again because I realized I just worked my ass off to get back, to keep my job. It's done nothing for me in my life, but caused me negative effects, to cause just bad shit, man. And since then, I haven't picked up a drink. My girlfriend came back to my life. All my friends. I get picked up strongman. No problems at work. I bought a SSS Camaro. I'm doing things for myself now. I'm really developing into the person I want to be without that outside alcohol, getting inside me and taking me over, making me someone who I'm not. The demon, the devil, the dark side of the force, if Star Wars would say. That's the dark side. That's a huge psychological approach. The force and the dark side, depression. George Lucas made that for a reason, and a lot of people don't understand that. But
If you aren't filling yourself up with alcohol, what are you filling yourself up with to replace it?
water. I love unsweetened iced tea. Addicted to unsweetened iced tea, water, and coffee. Maybe.
I just meant like in your life, like just period, like
Oh, I thought you
what's
meant
kind
like
of replacing that, because you got to fill in these habits.
Oh yeah, it's that's basically to fill in like if I'm not drinking, what am I doing? Right. All right. I mean, people like AA, they don't like AA. I'm going to a meeting. I'm going to a meeting because it's helping my recovery. And you don't have to believe in the big book or a higher power God, but you get to hear other people's stories. And like, holy shit, man, we're on the same boat together, brother. What's up? How you doing? Like, what's going on? Going to meetings, picking up strongman. I'm working out. Instead of being at a bar hanging out with my friends, I'm picking up strongman. I'm learning it now. New movements, not just bench, squat, and deadlift. And strongman is great to the everyday world. You're picking up things, you're dragging it. It's all timed. In a first responder's life, everything is timed. At any moment, any second, you can be pulling a body, you can be doing this stuff, And that keeps me motivated. Like, all right, I'm doing this for myself. It's new, keeps me busy, but it's also going to really help me out in the real world. So, yeah, that's kind of my story. So a year ago, I was in a psych ward. 6 months ago, I was in a rehab, and now I'm 4 months sober. Talking to Mark Bell, who I've looked up to my whole 10 years of my life. 2 weeks ago, I walked in the West Side Barbell and met Louis Simmons. Like, holy fuck, How am I doing this? I worked out with Alan Thrall yesterday. I worked out with Black Tom Cruise on his Instagram. Is Larry Wheeler's guy. So in 4 months, I meet people that are very famous and very popular in the fitness world, and it just started 2020. So I'm like, wow, this is kind of cool. This is my dream coming true. And yeah, there's just so much alcohol does to you, man. You can talk about this forever. It changes you, man. It gives you that high, that dopamine feeling. So the first 90 days is the hardest for someone to get out of rehab. So the average is statistic is the average person to get to 90 days, it takes them 3.5 rehabs to get it right in the first 90 days. So imagine as a family, you send someone to rehab thinking they're going to get it right. They come out a week later, they're relapsing. They go to their second rehab, and they're like, all right, maybe it's this time. Come out, you got it for a month. I got this, in quotes, I got this. You relapse again. Now your family and your friends are like, all right, man, you're an asshole, like we're here for you. You're going away. You're not getting better, man. What's going on? And that's a crazy statistic. 3.5 rehabs in the first 90 days. So I guess if you count my 14-day, that's a rehab, and then I was away for 6 weeks. So 2 rehabs. So I beat the 90 days, and it's you're psychologically affected for the first 90 days. Once you break that 90 days, that mark, P90X, I kind of just call it that, you're free from that psychological, most people are free from that psychological thinking about it, craving, stuff like that. Being addicted to it emotionally and physically, that's a whole other ballgame. My dad was addicted to it both. Physically, meaning you have to have a drink to keep your body going, or you're going in with withdrawals. Alcohol is the only drug you can die from withdrawals. Even heroin, you can't die from withdrawals. Alcohol, you can.
It's crazy.
What do you think is the thing that, I guess, helped you actually get past it or get through that rehab period, past that 90 days? Was it the community aspect? Like, why is it that people mostly fail?
They're not true to themselves. Maybe they don't think they still have a problem, right? It takes years. Maybe they don't feel good about themselves. Maybe they don't have the friends or the family that I had, right? Every variation comes in. I had a good friend group, a good support group. That was huge for my recovery. They were there for me when they knew who I really was as a person, but when I was drinking, they were still there for me, So it's having that support group. Work, even if you don't want to go to a meeting, just go to a meeting. Just get there. You're going to feel better. It's like you go to the gym, you don't want to work out. You get there, you feel better, right? Mm-hmm. It's just talking about it. Just let it out. Because once you hold that in, that resentment is so powerful for an alcoholic, for a drug addict. That hatred, it's going to lead you to a relapse. It's going to lead you to go back out. That's what we call it in recovery. Oh, I went back out, which is doing what you're doing.
How did you talk to your family about this? Were you kind of forced to because you knew you were going to lose your job type of thing, or like how did it come about? Letting your family know that you had, depression, alcoholism, that kind of stuff.
Well, it's kind of weird because my dad's an alcoholic. So my mom's seen now 2 people. And I guess, my dad really didn't understand it because he was fighting his own disease, his own alcoholism. And here's a man he's a great guy. He's addicted to alcohol and he's also addicted to opioids. So he has a gun and a knife at his chest. Which one's going to go off? Which one's going to trigger or the knife? You know? Thank God I didn't have that double-edged sword. My parents were very happy I went away and kind of manned up and took responsibility for my actions, right? It's like, you go to a therapist and you're like, Frank, or hey, I have a problem. Well, everyone has problems. This is the problem. Let's make a strategic way to get the problem and solve it. It's a basic algebra, right? If I do this, if I go A, this will happen. If I go B, this will happen. Let's make the smartest thing. So they were there for me for my recovery, and they've been there. And now my dad is sober 2 months, and I 4 months. So, but it's just crazy because here I am looking up to my dad my whole life, and now he's kind of following my footsteps. I'll never forget some stories. Like, I come home and he's in the bushes. You don't even know where he is. Got to drag him in. He's putting bleach and Clorox on his arms. You don't know where he is. And for me, it's like, I'm used to it. I grew up in that household where, mom and dad are kind of fighting every night almost. It's normal. That's normal to me, So that chaos chirping in my head, it's normal. You don't really know what goes inside of a household, right? It's drinking. It's normal. And, the day before he went to rehab, he split his head open, three staples in his head.
Damn.
A few months ago, man. Come home from a meeting. My brother's on the phone with 911. I said, what the hell's going on, man? She's like, turn that off. Get off. He's like, Dad fell. I go up there. He's got a towel on his head. My mom is there. I said, what the fuck? What happened? And my mom, Italian stallion, your fucking father, I'm done with him. He fucking's drinking. He fell. He hit his head. He's cracked open. Fuck it. When is this guy going to learn? And that's the stuff a basic alcoholic recovery person, addict hears, when are you going to learn? So please come. And he's like, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going to the hospital. And I'm like, all right. Then cop mode kind of came in. I said, Dad, here are your options. You go to the hospital. I'll drive you to rehab right now. Or Mom and Chris will get in the car and they'll leave. And you'll probably lose your family. He had to make that decision. And here's a guy that just got out of kidney failure, alcoholic acidosis, 2 weeks before that. So he's dying. His body's shutting down, man. Everything's giving up on him. And he's still drinking. That's how powerful it is. That's how fucking powerful it is when when it's got you by the grasp. You don't care about anything else. Just that next high. And a lot of people will go out there and what I went through, I hate saying, oh, that person's a crackhead. Well, you don't know why they're a crackhead, what they go through. And maybe they steal, but they're stealing for that drug. They're stealing because not everyone can have what I had. And I'm very honored and blessed to have that family, that support group, weightlifting, working out. So my dad goes to the hospital. He comes out, same night. Me and my mom are watching Netflix, and the door opens. Like, oh, shit, he's back already. Next day, here come the excuses. Let me just go to an outpatient. Let me just talk to someone. Like, Dad, you got to go. You got to fucking go. And I said, you know what? And now he's very proud of it. We were in a meeting the other night in Sacramento, and he's talking like he's got years on. But that's just my dad, very helpful, very life experience comes in. And I don't know if this is true, but this is what kind of reeled him in. I said, Dad, I'll go to the courts right now. Because there is a mental health court order where you can get some doctors' signatures, some people's signatures to make sure you're forced to go to rehab. I said, Dad, I'll go to the court right now, and I'll tell them you're drinking, you're depressed. Maybe you're driving a little bit, harm to yourself and others. And then you'll get a court order warrant to go to rehab. And everyone is going to know you went. And he said, all right, you know what? You're right with your mother. And with this, I'll go. And he fucking went to High Watch Recovery Center in Connecticut, the same place I went to. And I knew it was going to be great for him because there's guys joking around, having fun, man. And you learn about this stuff. It's interesting. And then he came out 2 weeks ago. He left the day before Thanksgiving. So last Thanksgiving, last Christmas, I was in my situation. I wasn't with my family. New Year's Eve, I wasn't with my family. This Christmas was one of the best Christmas I ever had in my life. New Year's, the best of my life. And I was sober. I was fucking sober. And my dad was in rehab. So I haven't spent 2 Christmases, 2 New Years with him. But for the long run, hopefully we have 20, 30, 40 more left, And, he admits it, and it's crazy. He admits how fucked up he was, how he was drinking, why he was drinking, what.
Did you guys used to talk to him about his drinking when you were younger, or was this something that came
It's
up
something
way
that,
later on?
well, it's something I always knew.
Yeah, knew, but like,
I never
but
thought, no.
but no one talked about it.
Oh no, how can I?
Right.
I don't have the balls to say, Dad,
No, you're
right?
yeah, you're a kid.
And my grandfather,
But I just mean from a family perspective.
yeah, no, not for like
It
the
really
past
wasn't.
2 or 3 years.
Okay, yeah, there
So
was
we've
no
been,
intervention going on earlier.
now we had our first intervention like a year ago,
Yeah.
2 years ago. Because for him, he was going to work every day. He was supporting the family.
Hmm.
He was there for us.
Right.
He broke his leg in the firehouse 18 years ago, snapped his tibia and fibia,
Damn.
2 plates and 16 screws. Here comes the Vicodin.
Right.
Here come the perks. So, 18 years, you got both in you.
Hmm.
2 or 3 years ago, he got a wood chipper, worked for the highway department, snapped his ankle into 35 pieces.
Shit.
Here it comes. Keep it coming.
Right.
So now he's really fucking, his brain is mush. You can look at him and he knows he lost everything. His body's really, he's got to work at it and get it back, but he's very skin and no muscle.
So you said your dad didn't really understand it because he was battling his own thing. What about your mom? Did you go to your mom and say, "Mom, like I've been going to get help. I'm depressed. I've fallen victim to the same thing Dad did." How did that unfold?
My mom she's a nurse, so she knows about this stuff. She saw I was getting very depressed, and she's kind of what helped me get into the rehab and all that. And when I first started going, when I first started telling her about the job change, I remember I was a little depressed and anxious. I don't think she knew how anxious and depressed I was until over time it really developed into losing all that weight. But she was there for me, very grateful. And then we had to worry about my dad at the same time. How's he going to accept it? He didn't accept it for years. Some of my family didn't talk to him. That didn't help him. My mom was going to leave him. That was close. But it's a powerful, cunning disease, baffling, and it takes control of the mind. Thank you.
How is the now that you're doing a lot better? What's it like? Do you have anxiety now? In terms of like, fuck, man, am I going to screw this up again? Like I've messed up a little bit before. Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen again, or do you feel pretty powerful?
To be honest, I feel pretty powerful because I never want to go back there. I work too hard to get to where I am. I don't even think about a drink or anything. I can sit at a bar and have an iced tea and enjoy life. And then I don't even want to be around a bar because you see all these people ruining their lives, literally sitting there, wasting away. So not only are you affecting your health, you're at a bar 2-3 hours at a time. You're losing time in your life. You're losing ideas. You're losing precious moments. I don't want to deal with that anymore. And I want to do one day at a time. Enjoy it. And hopefully wake up and I get another day. And another day. And brick by brick by brick. I never want to go back out. But the disease, hey, maybe 10 years I'm talking to you, Mark, and I went back out.
It's there, right?
That's it, man. It's always there. That's the crazy part. Anything in life could be a trigger. Fuck it, I'll pick up once. But I know if I pick up once, maybe I don't go on a tear. Maybe the second time I go on a tear. Third time, I'll probably go on a tear. Because me and my dad flew out here, right? I was telling you. No one knows what we're doing in California. We can have a great podcast, great workout. Oh, this is a dream come true for me, Frank, right? Dad, let's go out, let's get a beer. Let's enjoy. And that's the social, celebrate with alcohol, right? It's bullshit. Celebrate with PRs. So, we could be that next Hangover movie. We can go down, Mike Tyson's, freaking Tigers. And then we could not tell anybody, But I know if I pick up that drink right now, because now it took me 27 years to know a little bit who I am. I don't know who I am, really. Every day I'm learning new stuff. If I pick up that drink, there it goes. I'm done. So every day I keep myself busy, new ideas, working out, going to work. So I don't think about that. And now I haven't thought about that for months.
When you were depressed, did you want to kill yourself?
I'll just kind of say next question, but you'll see where I'm at. Like I said, really dark, deep thoughts.
Yeah.
How about the medication? Yeah. Like, how did you get off of that when you left rehab? Because it was a Frexin and a second medication. So do you still have to take anything now? Or?
No, I haven't been on medication in 2 months.
Wow.
So I saw another psychiatrist. And he took 3, right? Remember the first psychiatrist, a 15-minute session, 3 sessions of an hour to get to know me. And he said, rat poison. And when he said it, I was like, rat poison? What the fuck? Because I was still a little, but yeah, alcohol is rat poison, man. It affects you psychologically much more than people think. It doesn't also affect you in the gym. It affects you psychologically. I said, yeah, every addict you talk to, what's your poison, man? Crack, coke, heroin, speedballing, booze, and that was my poison. So every time I would see him, and now I'm spending a lot of money on my own for this recovery. It's not free. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And a lot of people also don't have that, right?
But AA is free, right?
Of course, you go in there, have a coffee, and that community, they love. It's all about helping another alcoholic. Keeps us sober, keeps you sober. That's what it's all about. Helping another alcoholic in need, because you know how it feels, right? You know how it feels when you were lost, right? Your mom's basement you talk about, right? You don't know what the fuck is going on. The Rock, what did he say? $7 in his pocket. And
Right.
you've been there, right? I don't know if you were depressed or not, but the way you talked about it, you probably were. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen, And you have a good support system. And you just keep moving forward, step by step, day by day. Just don't get stuck how I did. Just move an inch at a time. Even if it's an inch, just move forward and keep it going. Because once you stop, it could wrap you up in a second. And there's no need for that, right? You already have a lot of stress in your life. Life is stressful. You don't need to add extra stress. Now, these days with the millennials and everything, the average age to survive is 71 years old. That's crazy. Suicide, drugs, there's heroin. It's powerful out there, laced with fentanyl. Right? When I say God didn't put us on here, or higher power, he didn't make this alcohol, it was man-made,
Yeah, it's like the first generation, I think, in history that is not supposed to be able to outlive their parents.
That's
Some weird shit like that, right?
That's insane, man. It really is. It's sad. And social media is a big part of this, man. It's ruining a lot of people. That's a big addiction, social media. Instagram. I got to prove myself to other people.
Yeah.
Those influencers, right? I got to do this. I got to take a picture of my ass and put it out there for money for days and days, right? So if you have a nice transformation in your life, cool, post it. Respect. Let's show how you got there. But you're posting yourself in a bra or underwear a lot. I don't think a lot of people understand psychologically what they're doing. First of all, they're giving their body out. So there's sick people out there that, are taking this. Who knows if they're saving the picture? Who knows if you walk in that bedroom, they're going to have pictures of you all over. You don't fucking know.
They could.
Now
Now
you're-
made a calendar of you,
Right? Now you're getting all these negative comments. Well, if you want to post this, right, like, part of the game, right, you know what's going to come. Why you keep posting it? Maybe that's like an addiction you have. I got to post it. It's an urge, You can't resist it. So you're posting your location. Now, any fucking Joe Schmo can find out where you live, what gym you go to, where you are. And there's very sick people that think weird stuff out there. People buying bathwater of hot chicks. That's just insanity.
What do you think about other addictions? Like where do you draw the line? Because sometimes recovering alcoholics, sometimes they smoke marijuana. My brother uses like kratom. Where do you kind of stand on that? Like, I mean, coffee's an addiction.
Right.
Jerking off's an addiction. Like, there's so many things that can be addictions.
Right.
And they could end up being negative. They can impact your job or impact other aspects of your life, and that starts to become very problematic for you now after going through rehab. Where do you kind of draw the line?
Well, addiction, like you kind of said it, right? Eating is an addiction. Drinking is addiction. Picking up is an addiction. Shopping is an addiction. I met Steve-O from Jackass. Great guy. Yeah, I had to go to rehab for freaking jerking off and watching porn. Look at Lamar Odom, right? Life is, if you really think about it, it's addiction. Powerlifting meets, strongman meets. That could be an addiction in a positive way, right? Reading is an addiction, right? If you read so much and you start feeling guilty. So a lot of people are addicted to things that they don't even know it.
Wait, pause. What was it that messed up Lamar?
Like basically porn addiction.
Shit.
Before games, he has a rehab. The team's out there shooting shots. He had to get one last jerk in before the game, and this is wild,
That's real.
Yeah.
But he had, I give him credit because he'd been a lot. He was doing, I think, meth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had to get like flown to the ER because he was at one of like the like one of those ranches, and he took a bunch of boner pills and probably coke or something, and his heart rate went through the roof, and yeah, it was bad. Sex addiction, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Damn.
Fuck.
Porn.
Mhm.
It happens out there, man. It's,
Mhm.
you get addicted to anything that gives you that high. What gives it to you, man? You can get addicted to freaking working on cars, working on quads, buying new cars, right? Buying a watch, buying all this stuff. You know, it's just you can be addicted to Conor McGregor. Interview before Cowboy, he goes, LeBron James spends $1.5 million a year on his body, being the best that he can in the craft, right? Everything. Conor goes, 1.5 million on a car, a watch, and he was in a deep dark place, right? He didn't fight for 2 years, and he was very humble this fight, and I'd love to see that. But just to show, what can happen, and also being an addict and getting into fame, I bet there's a lot of people out there that don't know the best of their craft. They are in recovery. They are,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of people that are motivational people. And I actually have a list because I want to, the best of the best actors, the best, very good people that you'll be like, holy shit, I didn't even know. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and those people, they get respect. But if a random addict or a person ODs, right? A normal civilian, normal person, oh, there he goes. Steve OD'd again. Fuck him, right? He's a crackhead. But if a famous person ODs, oh, I feel so bad. But what's the difference, right? They're famous, they're good at that craft. And the best of Mac Miller, right? He died. Overdose. Avicii, EDM, fucking slit his wrists, killed himself. These guys were the best at their craft. So the people that are ODing and dying, you don't even know. They might not even hit their craft yet, and they could change the world. But they're wrapped up in this, in the darkness. They're wrapped up into this thing that gets a hold of you, and when it lets go, it's not. I mean, it's not going to let go.
Mhm.
You were mentioning earlier that you needed football, and then, when you lost football, you kind of lost yourself a little bit. Were you able to kind of pick up and get back into some strong disciplines right away after you kind of came out of rehab, or did you need more time to heal before you started like being a badass in the gym or getting more into your nutrition and exercise and stuff?
After like the high watch, right? When I
Yeah,
got out of
yeah,
rehab.
yeah. Whenever you started to feel better, yeah.
So I started picking up lifting here and then, basic bodybuilding stuff, just get myself feel good, move around, feel what I'd like to get back into this body. But now I'm 215 pounds, right? I got to learn. And then basic, I don't know, 5x5, just trying to get strong again. And then at the end of August, September-ish, I'm down 22 pounds now since September.
Congrats. That's good.
Weighing I'm like 190. Not drinking, eating clean, working out, focusing, being positive, helping reduce stress.
Do you try to like schedule things so that you have, because with football you had like a schedule.
Right. Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you try to schedule stuff so that way you're like, I don't know, you're so tied down to doing like other shit that you can't be, the weird thoughts and stuff won't creep into your head as much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I work during the day, so I wake up, go to work, eat my meals during work. Right after work, go to the gym. Then it depends what kind of workout it is. I'll hit an AA meeting, and I always call my buddies. These people that I went to high watch with, I'm still in contact with them. I got a guy that sends me Carmine, 6:30 every morning. AA thought of the day. I wake up to that text every morning. A powerful message. So I became very close to these guys. But yeah, everything is time. To me, everything's got to be on a time schedule, and it helps your body. So it's like everything is just, you get used to it, and you are able to. It feels better when you're on a schedule that you made, right? And then that's good. That works for you. Even if you're not be able to get to a meeting in recovery, call someone in recovery, or just call your best friend. Be like, hey, Mark, how you doing today, man? Like, really, come on, no bullshit. Tell me how you feeling. Or call your mom. Like, hey, mom, just want to let you know I love you and doing well. How you doing? That one phone call might save that person's life. You don't know what they're thinking, right? Those deep thoughts.
Mhm.
Just to say out there, hey, I'm grateful for you. Thanks for letting me be in this position. My dad came here we came from New York. Thanks, Dad. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting me. Because without you, I wouldn't be here.
How about the gym I've heard about, like for
Right. So, and this is where positive. So just to bounce back on Mark's question real quick, because I'll hit that about getting into it. I actually hit up Brandon Lilly for programming. And Brandon, I said, hey, man, I just want to get back into feeling strong, right? This is back in August. I'm 215 pounds. I need to lose weight. This is not me. And the best, and I could kind of do it myself, but the best in the world, they have coaches, they have athletes, they have a team, right? Mark has a team, you know, and Mark is definitely man enough to say, I couldn't do this without my team. Donald Trump became president with a team. Donald Trump is sober, by the way. His brother died from alcohol. He said, I'll never pick up a drink in my life because I never saw my brother. Hate him or not, he's a president of the United States, billionaire, sober. Eminem, one of the best rappers, sober. Demi Lovato. Brad Pitt's going through recovery. Ben Affleck's going through recovery. I could just spitball names. Samuel L. Jackson, he said he was a crackhead. Who played Bane?
Ooh, forgot his name.
Name's eluding me, but
Jack, dude, damn it.
He was just great in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, he was.
Alfie. That was his name.
That was
Alfie.
his name, yeah, Peaky Blinders' name's Alfie.
Ed Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Oh, Ed Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Ed Hardy is the clothing line, right?
Yeah, yeah. Damn, back in the day, right? Oh, you gotta wear Ed Hardy, you're a badass. Tom Hardy, man, he was a crackhead. He said he was went to a rehab in the early 20s. This guy's monster, machine, really good actor. Bradley Cooper, he's been sober forever. These guys are the best in their craft, and they're sober. You know, so if you have a role model, look up to these people. Well, they're the best, right? There's no argument, really. These are the top 5 actors, the top 5.
Robert
people.
Downey Jr.
Right, Iron Man. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that too, right? You think about it; these people are sober.
I've heard from some people, they say, you know, they've had a big fear of what it's going to look like when they go out and hang out with friends. You
Right.
know, was
Yeah.
that a hard transition? You know, you just like, oh, I'm sipping on this and I'm sipping on some tea. You know, it's got to be quite different.
No, I had a good support group. They wanted me to get better. That was the thing, you know. They were there for me. That's why I'm very lucky and blessed to have
Yeah.
that friend group. They were there for me, and they know, you know, that I'm not going to pick up because you know they won't let me to either physically. We'll get into a fight probably if I try to pick up. That's how much of a good
I mean,
group,
some
friend group I have.
people are kind of thinking like, oh, all I get to drink is this tea. This sucks.
Right, and that's the first
But-
90 days.
But the other side of it sucks way worse.
Oh, you think
You know,
about
being
right,
an alcoholic, being addicted to something, that sucks way worse than just sitting there drinking some water.
right, and because you know, you don't know any better. You don't know anything else right now in early recovery, really, of how your life is really meant to be. But people do hang out with. If you're in a bar, right? If you're a bartender or something like that, and you're in a restaurant, drinking is huge. You might have to quit that job to keep your recovery safe. I've heard a lot of people in the rooms quit their jobs because they knew they would relapse. That's how much it takes. Start over, and now they're living a great life. So to bounce back on about the gym. So I've been sober, and in my mind, I always wanted to open up a gym when I retired. You know, cool. You know, help people. My dream. Just, you know, watching videos, Instagram, thinking a lot of thoughts. I said, why can't I open up my own gym? Like, what's stopping me right now? You know, it's going to help my recovery. It's going to keep me busy. And especially with NYPD having 10 suicides last year. 2 of them, 12, because if you count 2, they were retired. I don't want to see anyone kill themselves. You know, NYPD, law enforcement, firemen, any person on the street, right? There's always a chance to get better and change. It's a hero journey. It's fighting through the demons and restarting a new life and becoming someone different, you know? So I said, all right. Kind of started spitballing to myself, writing in my notes on my phone, writing down. And I had this idea, and I told my girlfriend, I said, hey, what do you think about reps for responders? And I told her about it. And she goes, have you ever heard of reps for recovery? I said, no idea. What is that? Reps for recovery is a gym out in Reno. I never knew. The nonprofit is anyone in recovery can use.
It's Chrissy May, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Actually, I think I'm going to go this Thursday to check it out. That anyone in recovery can use the gym for free. Now you have a family, a unity to hang out, to talk about your problems, to work out together, to learn, to get better, right? That's what it's all about. So I said, you know, my idea was, wow. So I reached out to them. They actually talked to me for 30 minutes. Got great ideas, how it's ran. But my idea was, all right, any first responder, volunteer or not, because in Rockland there's a lot of volunteer firemen and EMS and EMT. Anyone that's active, anyone who's retired, any active military, any veteran, can use this gym for free. Come on in, work out, open membership, right? But I want to try to build that community, and it's more for the psychological, right? come in. I've been through it. I've been through hell and back, I guess, right? I guess, I'm an everyday guy. If I can get through the story I kind of just told you, why can't you? What's the difference, It's just that support group, that motivation, that vision. So, come in, you have an issue. Hey, I don't want to go to the job. I'm feeling depressed. I'm drinking a lot. All right, all right. Thanks for telling me. Let's try to make a plan. Let me hook you up with the right people. Because now I know a lot of people that are very well in their profession, and get you the right help, that strategic plan to help you kind of get through this, so you don't have to get a DWI, lose your job, divorce, go to strip clubs, kill yourself. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm opening this gym, because I don't want to see anyone go through what I went through. I went through it, fucking sucked, and now, but I'm great. I say I'm a grateful alcoholic because I'm grateful I went through it. Because if I didn't go through it, who knows if it happens to me at 30 or 40, right? Mark, you said it can happen to you anytime. Now I have a family, I have kids, and I'm going through it with the kids. And now I know if I have kids when I want to one day, they'll never see dad as an alcoholic. I'll never have a fucking drink in that house. If they pick up, I'll let them know, right? 18, 19, hey, you fall off a swing, it's going to hurt, fucking put some sand on it, some wood chips, and go. You got to fall and learn, right? You can't just get babied. Hey, you drink. This is what's going to happen, man. Good luck on your first night drinking. You can like it, you can hate it, but I'll let you know it runs in your family and it will ruin your fucking life forever. So that's how I look at it. So now this gym, I'm opening up with a Midtown North cop in Manhattan. We took the police test together. Good friend of mine. Retired second grade detective. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, 35 years. He was in the robbery squad in Manhattan and a taxi unit. They got rid of the taxi unit. He did the streets for 20, 25 years. This is his dream. He just said he always wanted to open up a gym and just do jiu-jitsu for free. We had the same mindset to help first responders. There's a lot of first responders out there, fat, out of shape. They don't know really what's going on, and tactics saves lives. And you should be working out because it's going to save your life and your partner's life, Mm-hmm. It's just, basic tactics. Like you see someone on the street with their hands, right? Hands in your pocket, and say, hey, man, just take your hands out for me, right? Nah, man, why do I got to do it? It's not even an instant. It's a second. I have your wrist, right? Now I have control. Right. And it's all about the hands, right? Your eyes, right? Your hands are going to tell you everything. If they don't have a gun on them or drugs or not, I did that for my safety. It's all about safety, keeping you safe. And now everything that's going on in the streets, people are afraid to put hands on people because they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get the camera. But you got to do your job because what do they say? It's better be better than tried by 12 and carried by 6, or did I get that the opposite way? Right? The jury, right? Then die. So it's just all about tactics, and Joe is very good at what he does, and it could save a cop's life, and try to mark, and it would be great. Try to arrest someone by yourself, 18-year-old female, right? Imagine Jess trying to put 2 cuffs on her. It's going to be a fight, and it's not going to be a strongman minute or a deadlift and down. It's going to be a fucking battle. Mm-hmm. So all that stuff will help you to survive and go further. So this is the idea I have. So we'll do, open gym, come on in, work out, do your thing. I'll do some strongman conditioning classes. I used to be a certified personal trainer too. I got to find some bullshit certification to do, no problem. And Joe is certified to give out belts. So now we have a black belt class, jiu-jitsu. We can do strongman conditioning. We can do open gym. Come and do your thing. I'll help you out, whatever you need. And then I want to run some AA meetings out of it. Come in and talk. And I would love to get people, come into the gym, big time people, talk about, have a meeting. Why am I sober? Come in here, AA or not, fitness or not. Come in and make it a community, rep for responders. Every rep we're doing is to build this, try to save someone's life, because it's only a time until that alcohol, because as a cop, you can't take coke, you can't smoke weed, and do coke, not take it, do coke, because, you're going to lose your job. So alcohol is a big number 1 thing. And there's other ways, so you don't get that DWI. You don't get
the toughest part with alcohol. It's, it's everywhere.
Hey, quick question, man. This may be, I don't know, this may sound stupid, but do you think something like, how Chris is utilizing Kratom, it helps with his pain, it helps with his addiction. Do you think like something like weed could help individuals with these issues, or no? In your opinion?
It's just like such a sticky topic.
Yeah.
I never smoked weed, but I do know that a lot of people that drank smoked weed that led them to coke, that led them to heroin.
Gateway.
So, you might be smoking weed for a few months or so, right? And then you're like, oh, fuck, I feel good, but I'm missing that alcohol. I don't know. Every individual is different, right? Like when someone comes in and you want to train them, like you do an assessment. I don't know your past of history, I recommend no, because you can pick it up at any time. You could be feeling so good and you don't even know. You get so high and you're picking up a drink and then you're fucking doing coke off whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, shit, here we go again. Vroom, vroom. you know. And it's like I just recommend it. No, try to find a different outlet. But again, I'm not, I'm not really sure about that past of that person. And if they can control it, and that's the thing, you think you can control it. Fuck out of here. You can't control it, man. There's no way. It's a human kryptonite, Superman kryptonite. That's what ruins lives, jobs, relationships. Not even just for cops, everyday people. It's just, the best actors in the world. When Harry Potter, right? The British guy. I forgot his name right now. He went through it. Young kid going through all this stress. Just drinking like crazy. And, I just give those guys a lot of respect for coming out and giving their story to save people. Because, look, I'm just like a normal guy from New York, and I, remembering these things that these guys came from a far, far away place. And they're here. They got through it.
Yeah, if you ever drive by a rehab center, you'll know it because people are smoking like crazy and drinking coffee.
Oh, man, after AA meeting,
Yeah.
fucking cigarette
You
break.
see this chain smoking. And, I would just say, look, I think a really negative thing is when it has a negative influence like on your life. And so if you can smoke some cigarettes here and there, I don't think anybody thinks that smoking is healthy, is a good practice. And
Right.
you can, coffee seems to be fairly safe. But at the same time, it's like, you might just want to be careful with what it is you're doing because it might be triggering. Just
Right.
like with food, like, can I eat that? Well, not really. If it's going to lead you to be out of control with the rest of your diet and it's going to throw you out, off pattern, then maybe not.
So it's funny you say that because last night we went out for food and my dad got a Sprite. But every time my dad drank, his Sprite was his go-to, Sprite and vodka. So I said, Dad, does that make you want to drink? Right? Because that's, that's a good way to trigger yourself. He said, no. All right, I'm going to believe the man. He's my father and he's in recovery. And all right, I can trust you, man.
Right.
But if he mans up and says, I feel like I want to have a drink because I'm drinking a Sprite, then we can't have Sprite anymore and work around it. So it's all about if you in recovery, you slip up, right? There's a difference between relapsing and a slip up. So if my dad left the podcast or we work out later and he goes, I'm just going to go out, right? And he comes back, he's like, Frank, I had a drink, man. 2-3 drinks. I'm a little buzzed. I fucked up. All right, let's acknowledge that slip up. Let's work around it. What caused you to drink, right? Did you feel good? Because when I slipped up a little bit, I said, oh, I feel great. I got this. I didn't have like an outside stressor to drink. All right, that's a slip up, man. First of all, you have to admit the slip up because when you hold it in, then it's going to lead to that relapse. So, all right, you had to slip up today's date, start over day 1. You're not sober anymore. Tomorrow's day 1. And go from there. So, slip up might be a few or more times. Like Ben Affleck just said he had a slip up, right? He spent $60,000 or something in a rehab or at a casino. He admitted it, though. That's very powerful to acknowledge your slip up. And he's going back to work. And like going back to work as in working on the program. Going back into it a day at a time, a second at a time, a minute at a time, and going from there, which is really, really awesome to, you have to admit your slip ups. Because if you don't admit it, then it's going to lead to a relapse, and you're not fooling anyone, man. Back to the farm.
Has it changed the way that you act in general, going through AA and going through rehab? Because I remember Chrissy May Cagney a few years ago was on my podcast, and she was saying that she was sober, but she was still acting like she was still, acting like she was an addict.
Intoxicated? Or
Not intoxicated. No, she was acting.
addict behaviors?
She had addict behavior. She just was like not good to people.
Right.
And it was the way she was treating people when she was addicted. She was used to treating people that way. And so she was like, fuck, like I need to fix this up too. Do you feel some of that, and has it helped you maybe even just like be a better person overall?
Right, yeah. So again, like every specimen, every addict is different. Like maybe I know she did a lot of different types of substances. I'm pretty sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
She admitted it. And I've only had alcohol, right? So I didn't really have a crazy story where I really hurt someone intentionally or whatever. So, but you're consciously, subconsciously, you have habits that you built over years and years and years of not knowing wrong. So it's going to take, what do they say, 21 days to break a little habit, right? It's going to take a long, like think about all those years you were out there shooting up, sniffing, years. Think about how much now time you got to come out and work on being a good person, right? And breaking those habits slowly. You can't just say, I'm going to do this all today and it's going to be I'm drinking again in an hour, It's just breaking it down, fix one habit at a time. And that's kind of just, well, now I'm not drinking, I feel better. I think better. I think so much faster and clearer. I don't have to worry about what did I do last night. Oh, my girlfriend's pissed at me, or what did I say? I'm in control of myself. I'm in control of my thoughts, and the thoughts are so powerful. If you fill yourself up with negative thoughts, your brain don't know. You're gonna think negative. Oh well, I'll never be able to squat 600. Well, okay, well you just said it to yourself. You fucking can't do it. And that's like a perfect example of how powerful addiction is in your brain and how much it hits the receptors. And I heard your brother out there talking about it. And it's really, really crazy how it plans out and how crazy recovery really is. Great and powerful. And about the gym. So real quick, like the motto is like a minotaur. And the minotaur, so in Greek mythology, there is a different type of, basically like a learning curve for each story. So the minotaur was killing everybody. He was in a labyrinth, right? And I have a tattoo of the minotaur on my body. It's like a code I live by. This is for me, no one else. And people ask, I'll tell them a story, and they're like, oh shit, that's a good story. You faced the minotaur, and I'll tell you when. So the minotaur was, kind of brought down because there was a goddess who did something, so they made her have sex with this bull, and the bull became half man, half bull, half man, half bull, the minotaur. It's put in a labyrinth, right? All these warriors go in the labyrinth, the minotaurs crush them, killing them. Now Theseus, the warrior, knows he can kill the minotaur. Maybe we talk about the vision. He visions he can kill the minotaur. I know I got this, but I'm worried. How do I get out of the labyrinth? If I can kill the minotaur, how do I get out? His girlfriend at the time said, hey, I'll give you this ball of yarn. Once you enter the labyrinth, go through it, drop it. When you kill him, follow the yarn back out. Yeah, he killed the minotaur. Theseus was the warrior, love story. And he followed the yarn, so it shows the littlest things in life with love can go a long way. The psychological approach is your brain is like a labyrinth. You can get caught in your brain all the time. You don't know which way you're going. So the minotaur is your fear, your doubt, your anxiety. Every time you start a new job, you start a new school, a new relationship, right? Everyone say, fuck, is this going to work out? Am I making that right choice? So you're technically the minotaur and your Theseus, right? So once you accept killing the minotaur, right, get rid of your fears, your doubts, your anxieties, truth will set you free, right? And then, so now the gym is going to be, Breath for Responders. I want to call it the Labyrinth, but I don't know, because the nonprofit, it took a lot. I put a lot of money into this, my own money, and I'm not looking to make money on this gym. I'm looking to help people save a life. That's what I care about. And hey, Frank, 10 years or 5 years from now, you saved my life. And I'm like, hey man, welcome to the club, bro, because I know how it feels. So, when you're in your mom's basement, right, you had the fucking minotaur man up your ass, fucking breathing on you, like, right? And you fucking had to say, you know what? I'm going to make, a slingshot. I'm going to go with it, destroy my fears, destroy my doubts, destroy my anxiety, and boom. And you know what? The crazy thing is, Mark, minotaur could appear back, man, just like fucking addiction.
That's what was up my ass the whole time. I knew there was something up there.
Getting at him. So yeah, it's like a great documentary, Strongman, Eddie Hall, when he had to pull 500 kilos, right? 1,102 pounds. Did you see what he had to go through?
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that. The psychological, the fight or flight, the activation, the hell he went through, to do what he did, humanly possible. Order therapists, get to that dark place and activate it. And you don't see, you want to be like these guys, Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, Mark, how do you pronounce his last name, who just won Strongman?
Martin.
Yeah.
Martin Leach.
Yes. You want to be like these guys, but these guys aren't out drinking. They're not partying. They're fucking every day they're living this, Big Z, right? Really respectable man. These guys, the best of the best, they're sacrificing to get here. And they're there because a big part of it is they didn't pick up the drink. I guarantee you if we had Eddie or Brian in here and whatever, and they said, hey, can you drink twice a week and black out and do straw man? They'll laugh. It's not possible. And I don't believe regrets in life. I believe in learning experience, but one big learning experience, if I started working out as a freshman in high school and I didn't pick up a drink, who knows how strong I could have gotten naturally. Because now, every time I picked up a drink, my sleep is fucked up for 3-4 days. I don't eat. And then when you're drunk or when you're hungover, you're eating like shit. Your body's craving different food. So I was like, wow, if I didn't do that for 10 years, who knows what would happen, So now I'm back on the grind. Like I have certain numbers I want to hit by the time I'm 30, 35. And it's all about slow future goals and trying to get there.
What you got going on over there, Andrew?
I had a really, really good question coming from Facebook. Basically, I think it was she asked, what can, because she's a therapist. Okay. So from,
That's
Talk-
pretty cool.
Yeah. So talking to somebody who is a therapist, what can they do to be better at listening to somebody like in your situation, or that was going through your through your experience? Because she's just like, well, shit, what can we do to be better?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool to hear that. Well, it's funny because I had someone who's going through a little depression now, one of my best friends, and he saw a therapist one session. And you know what she said to him? And that got me pissed. I can see you're depressed. What do you think about taking medication? The first time I said, dude, do not do that. Let's get you eating for 3 weeks, 3 months straight, clean. Let's get you working out, 10-minute walks, right? Your thing, right? And let's see if that helps. Then maybe we'll go to medication. That's the problem. And I don't know if this therapist has, if she can prescribe medication. That's a psychiatrist. But to someone that comes to you with a drinking problem is to, kind of tell them, hey, listen, you're not a bad person. Find out how they grew up. Listen to their stories, because everyone has emotional scars that are there forever, different, see what triggers them and affects them. Hey, if you're a therapist, volunteer. If you really care about that person, hey, I'll go to a meeting with you, man. Let's do this together. Let's see what's going on and work it out slowly. Let's just, let's go to a meeting and see how it goes. And just be very involved with that person and try to find out the triggers and what really causes them to drink, and give the best advice you can. They're not wrong. You're getting caught up in the labyrinth, right? Your own mind. And we can get through this. It's just one day at a time, and then just keep reinforcing. It's not going to be easy. And this is just basic, quotes. Oh, it's not going to be easy. Well, yeah, nothing in life is easy. You don't wake up and you're a millionaire unless you're born into it. But, just listening and actually telling them there's nothing wrong with them. Because there really is nothing wrong with them, They just have, a lot of people are, and you can say, hey, you're addicted to alcohol. As therapists, maybe man up and say, hey, I'm addicted to whatever, different things, painting or whatever, and it makes me feel good. So try to find an outlet of maybe lifting or basic computer games, or, computers are huge addictions. There's something that's a little outlet that's different, and try to reinforce everyone has problems. That's the problem. Don't make them feel alone. Everyone is an addict in some way, form of way.
Mm-hmm. And so what about somebody who, without jumping to conclusions or anything like that, but somebody who they definitely have a drinking problem, but they don't even want to acknowledge it? What?
It's like me looking at my dad right now.
Yeah. So I mean, you lived through it. Advice for somebody that's like they want to help, but that person, they're very
caught in their disease. They're very caught up.
Yeah,
They're
they don't really
stubborn.
want the help yet,
Right,
but
right.
like it's going down the dark path. Like it's gonna end bad.
You're gonna turn from an Anakin into a Darth Vader real soon.
They're just not ready yet, right?
Hey, that's it, man. Right, Mark? I can give Mark $1 million. Hey, man, help me with my recovery. Dude, I can't go inside your thoughts and control you and do this. The first step is admitting you're powerless against alcohol. You're powerless against that drug. The truth will set you free, right? So once they admit it, they're ready. It took my dad 2 years, 2 fucking years. Cracked skull, finding him in the bushes, almost losing my mom, right? To say, I'm ready. So everyone, and that's a problem with addiction. It's so tough. Everyone's at a different race, And it depends on the age of that person. Do they have a family? Are they 18? Because when you're 18 and we're talking 20, you think you have the world by the balls. You don't want to hear shit from anyone. I got this. You're not living my life. So it all depends on their age. But be there for them. Don't keep reinforcement. Hey, dude, you're an alcoholic. You're drinking too much. Just maybe be like, hey, man, the other night was a little too crazy. Maybe, and try to keep them away of sober, try to keep them in sober activities. You're not going to take them to a restaurant or a bar. That's just crazy. There's no point, especially in someone in recovery. Basic different things, try new things, and keep them busy. Be there with them in their recovery. Because, hey, when you're helping out an addict, you're helping out yourself, right? That's the best feeling in the world, is helping yourself and making someone else feel better.
Maybe even having somebody in mind that could help. So you could say, hey, the last couple of weeks you've been really, and it's just, I've been noticing a trend with you and over the last few years even, and I want to address it with you because I care about you. And you say, rather than just saying you should get help, maybe you already have someone in mind. Hey, my friend, he really struggled. If you need someone to talk to, I'm in your corner, I'm on your side. That's what we did with my brother Chris. Is once we realized what a problem it was, then I was like, oh well, plenty of people around have beaten alcohol before, so let's just find some people that have beaten it before, and I'll ask them, hey, you mind talking to my brother? And they jumped on they jumped on that right away. Yes, I will talk to him. I'd love to talk to him. There's no hesitation at all. So maybe have a little, tiny bit of a game plan if
Right.
possible.
It's perfect. Mark just hit it on the head. What did I say before? Surround yourself with that positive people. Hey, the first few months of recovery, you think you want to be around those people? Fuck no. But over time, you're going to realize, wow, this is the right group. This is what's going to keep me sober. I don't want to be at the bar, right? You're at the bar. They make a funny comment, and hey, you walk out of the bar, you're sober for 20 years. You come back, and they're like, oh, the same people 20 years are sitting on that bar stool. Oh, Frank, where'd you go? What do you mean, where'd I go? I was in the bathroom the whole time, man. How you doing? It's like, you don't want, like, you're at the bar with these people that don't give a shit about you, man, because they have their own issues. They're drinking because they have their own internal issues. So they don't care. They might say they care, but do they really, really deep down care? You call I'm friends with now over 100 cops. I can call any of these cops, anyone in an AA, and say, dude, this is my problem. I need to meet up. Second, they're there, And that's what the program is all about, is being there for each other. And you can't force someone to get help. That's the hardest part. They're going to want to have to accept it and get help themselves. But everyone always talks about when they're in early recovery, oh, I'm sitting at this meeting, I'm listening to this bullshit, But it's that subconscious reinforcement, just hitting my brain, and getting to that point where, oh, wow, this shit works. It's really crazy. It really is. If you look at it, everyone has their own problems, and just by not drinking and drugging, how life really could work, and meeting, not just not picking up a drink, but meeting some great people in your life, some great opportunities. If I wasn't sober, I wouldn't be sitting next to you, Mark.
Yeah.
You don't want to care about a kid who is 180 pounds and drinking and whatever. Who cares? Weightlifting. Everyone wants to be a powerlifter. Everyone wants to. What did Ronnie say? Everyone want to live a
bodybuilder.
Yeah, everyone want to be a bodybuilder, but no one want to live heavy ass weight. Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, you talk on all this shit on Instagram, right? And people are probably going to say, oh, this kid don't know what he's talking about. I was like, all right, like I lived it, so I just want to make sure no one kills themselves. You're not alone in recovery. You are able to get through this because I did. And the scary part is that it can reappear anytime.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, now I'm subconsciously, I know. I don't have the alcohol and the drugs in my body. I know, I'm aware of it. And that's what it's always being aware about it,
Let me ask you this, because I think also that question from Andrew, how do you address this person? What if this individual is like their close group knit of people are also, that's their thing too. It's a bunch of people that drink, and how, because you said you had your drinking buddies, but how did you extract yourself from those buddies and those people that you call friends? Because a big part of alcohol, and the reason why it's so damn dangerous, is because it's so socially acceptable. Mm-hmm. It's like so normal to be blacked out drunk.
About the money, yeah.
It's
cool. Look at Barstool Sports.
Yeah,
that's all it is. And all these young kids think it's awesome. Let me get on Barstool. All right, there you go. That's your job. Look you up Barstool and see. You want to hire someone that does that, right? Just think a little bit. That's the problem, right? You got to man up, accept it, and get new friends, because you're not going anywhere. What did Louis Simmons say? You run with the lame, get a limp, right?
Yeah.
So why would you got to accept it, because I promise you, there's better friends down the road. My support group is so great, and they're very acceptable. And I'm lucky that I do have my drinking buddies. I'm still friends with them, but I don't really hit them up to hang out, because I know what it could lead to. I don't want to put myself in that situation, right? Making the smart choice, the conscious decision.
It's very hard not to be judgmental towards those people too. Like when you start eating better and you start not drinking, you start to come to a realization of like, wow, like everything's so centered around this like just massive overeating of food, massive consumption. When I went to the 49er game, I went on the train on the way up there, and just everyone's got drinking. And I understand everyone's they're trying to have a good time, but this is a ritual for these people. They do it every weekend, and they have their own cart, and they got their, and it's like, man, luckily I've never fell into that. I've never been that way. But to me, when I see that, I'm just like, and I do empathize with people that are addicted to alcohol, but in general, I'm thinking, what a bunch of fucking losers. Like, what a giant waste of fucking time.
And that's how I think now. Remember I said how much time you're wasting? Right? Look at Bill's Mafia jumping through tables.
Like, what the fuck is this for? Like, I love football, but I don't need to go to the fucking game if I don't care. I don't.
And then you bring your
I
children.
don't have to go to the game. I'm going to the game because it's going to be fun, but I don't have
Right.
to drink and act irresponsible and eat like a pig to go have fun watching it.
And now I live both lives as someone who used to do that, and now I'm 10 times happier knowing I'm not going to wake up with a hangover, knowing, hey, what if you bump into the wrong person, get into a fight? You're putting yourself in a bad predicament.
Right.
And you're sober, you can man up and walk away from stupid situations, right? And just you look at life so different. You know, it's just such a blessing. It's so, you know, you feel good talking about it. It's
Now
just-
everything's super positive, right? Now everything's super happy.
right, yeah. And it's like, that's the thing in life. It's crazy. It's really right in front of you. It's like, open the book. There's the answer, but you have to do it, do the work. Like, you know, sobriety is, everyone has a chance to being sober. And it's why your higher power, God, put us here, right? To think clearly, to not be tempted,
Right.
you know, to think clearly and try to fight. You know, everyone has demons, and it's just great. It's a superhero feeling in itself, you know, makes it 10 times stronger, 10 times think better. All these people, you know, you think Bill Gates maybe he was drinking you know, I don't think he was blacking out every night, fucking making Microsoft. The Rock
Right.
drinks his tequila here and there, but he's not an alcoholic. He can control it. But, you know, The Rock he's depressed, right? Out of Miami, not knowing what the fuck he's gonna do.
Mhm.
You don't think The Rock was in a dark time? So if anyone listening thinks they're in a dark time, think of The Rock. Think of these people that got through it. You know, I'm not saying you're gonna be The Rock, but you can be someone that you want to be. You know, it happens to a lot more people than you think, and that's what people need to understand. It could be happening to your neighbor, your wife, and you don't even know.
Your kids,
And that's
Yeah.
huge, man.
you
They
can
might
do the
not.
best job you can raising them, and you can be there for as much stuff as you can be. But if they get an outside influence or they have their own idea that they want to try some
Right.
drugs or alcohol, you don't know.
Addiction's a skill. It's a craft. You learn how to lie. You learn how to cheat. You learn how to manipulate. You know. So like you were talking about, what's her name, Christy?
Mhm.
She was learning. She learned all that through her addiction.
Right.
So now she had to unlearn that. Right. What is it like? Learn what you've unlearned
Right.
to learn again. And that's what someone in recovery has to go through. So not only do they have to not stop drinking and drugging, they have to learn how to live a proper life the way they want to, and to kind of just learn that movement again, you know, and learn how to be with the rest of society, I guess, and you know, try to be as best as living as possible, and not that person. You know, there's a statistic out there. I think it's right, but about 50% of U.S. drink socially. Out of that 50%, 10% are alcoholics. So there are people out there that can, you know, but what is an alcoholic? To me, it means it's not about what you drink. It's not about how much you drink. It's about what happens when you drink. Does it affect your relationship? Does it make you feel like a piece of shit? Does it affect your job? Are you losing people in your life? Are you losing jobs because of this? Yeah, you have a problem. Now let's fix it. You know, that's what an alcoholic is to me, right? I didn't drink every day. I couldn't get to those football teams or do what I want to do if I drank every day. But when I drank, and it affected me for a few days. I felt very negative about myself, very shameful, very guilt, and that's what it is, you know. And it's a cunning, baffling, powerful disease. And if you don't hold on to it, it'll get a grip, and that's it. It's a fast ride, man, and you don't even know in a blink of an eye.
Where can people follow along your story a little bit more, and how can they continue to find out about this gym?
Oh, reps_for_responders, reps for responders. I just, you know, first time I'm coming out about this. It's a nonprofit, so I'm going to start a GoFundMe very soon, and anyone's welcome. If you're a cop or a firefighter in California and Florida, come check out the gym, you know. And I tell people, you know, I put a lot of money into this for myself to buy the equipment to start the nonprofit. So the money I'm raising is really just for rent, just for new equipment. You know, my home is your home. You want to come in, let's get after it. And
The gym already exists.
I have the equipment in my garage.
Yeah.
We just looked at a place right before I left Friday.
Oh, cool.
So we're going through the paperwork. So it should be open by the middle of February, end of February.
Awesome.
So it's like all the donations, like I'm not looking to make a profit. I'm looking to save a life and go forward, you know. So all the donations help. So Reps for Responders is the first time I'm coming out with my story, you know, and I feel great. You know, it's like me meeting, you know, one of my true lifetime heroes next to me, you know, and little does he know, he helped me with my recovery. Like, fuck your elbow. I'm sitting in a psych ward, and I'm like, you know, what would Mark Bell do? What would these guys do? The Rock, Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, these guys, you know, you look up to. The fake people, Captain America, right? Look at the Avengers, Thor, Fat Thor. He went through a depression and he drank,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It happens to everyone, man. Fuck, you
Captain
can't.
America went the other route. He took steroids.
Yeah. Yeah. And be careful with that, because that'll wrap you up too.
It can.
And
It certainly can.
I'm, you know, I can't, you know, and I never want, and you know, I thought about it, but I know I never did. You know, maybe when I'm 50.
Come on, bro. You can have a little bit.
Maybe when this guy, he's the dealer in North Sacramento.
That's right.
You know, it's like I hear these stories all the
Little
time.
D-ball never killed anything.
I hear these stories all the time. It's like, all right, you know, test, Anavar, whatever. And all right, I just did 500 for 8 on the deadlift. Holy fuck. A month later, 2 months later, fuck, 500 for 5. What the fuck happened?
Right.
Now it's like, whoa. I need to take another cycle, one more cycle, one more drink. Now I hit 500 for 10. And it becomes a fucking wheel, man.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with alcohol, and it's a drug. You gotta know what you're getting yourself into. The best in the world, Arnold and all of them, they had a good, what were we talking about? A support team, right? They had a good team, and they didn't abuse it. They didn't abuse it. If they abused it, they would have died. There's a lot of good bodybuilders and people out there that abuse it, and their heart literally exploded, right? And who knows if they're drinking on it too, right? But it's, you know, being careful, knowing what you're putting in your body, because it has an effect, knowing who you're around, your support team, and it's just a day at a time of building a nice realm that who you can trust. And as you get older, you know people you can trust and can't trust. And now I'm 27, and that was a problem. I cared what people thought, right? I cared when I first got to NYPD. I cared when I got to Rockland County. I cared the football team. Now, you can drop a comment and say, Frank, go fuck yourself. I don't like this podcast. All right. Like, you know, that's just what recovery taught me. I don't have to worry about other people. I don't have to drink to go on a date because I'm nervous.
Wait till you're 40. It's great. You really don't care.
Yeah, that's what I hear, man. The older you get, like my dad's sitting over there, he could give 2 fucks. You
Yeah,
know?
he don't give a shit.
He'll chuck us a moon and walk out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a blessing to even be here and getting some cool questions from a therapist to help people. You know,
Yeah.
and I'll have my email up on the page, and you want to come in and talk. And you know, I want this to be a rep for responders. I want this to be something special that people can have a community.
Where's the gym going to be?
Rockland County,
Oh, okay, cool.
right? So I'll have that all, you know, more, you know, and I'll write out a little bit more of my story, because I kind of came out with my story. Not a lot of people know. They know I got depressed, but they don't know what I went through, and kind of, you know, a year ago. To look what happened. Look what happens in a year. You can buy a new car. You can get your girl back. You can get into get your dad in the fucking rehab. You can meet with your most, you know, person that you looked up to, right? You and Westside, right? In the same month, 2020. It's not even over. I'm like, fuck, man, I'm great.
Just
I'm
getting
doing
started.
good. Yeah, how you doing, right? So it's like, and now I'm in my job, and I'm in the strongman. I just did my first strongman show in December. Then I just did my second strongman show 3 days ago. So I'm hurting a little bit, but now you can see, right? I'm addicted. I love competing. That's my addicted personality. I'd rather be addicted to strongman. Fucking, I'd rather have physical pain, fucking blow my fucking knee out, whatever, than fucking be drinking for fucking wherever. That emotional scar, man, that shit's on you to heal. When you're physically, you got good doctors, you can heal it, right? You can work with a team. But emotionally, you got to have that right therapist, right? Talk about, you know, every therapist and client, they might not be right? Feel it out. Go to a few different ones. See what you connect with, you know? Like, see, there's so many fitness people in the world. I just how Mark is straightforward. He don't bullshit. He's open about his life. And, you know, his brother had a huge impact on him and his other brother. And I kind of like, all right, you know, and I looked up to these guys. Like, you know, I'm 45 minutes away from Rockland County. These guys can do it. They go in kind of same issues I went to, right? You know? And that's kind of what, you know, I'm very happy to be here. I'm kind of going on a tangent there, but you don't really know.
Oh,
you
you
know?
broke a record today for the most amount of water. You got
Dude, I
three-
gotta.
Oh yeah.
I gotta piss. I gotta
Big
piss like a
time.
racehorse. But
Yeah.
I wanted to say something real quick. I'm thinking like just to help people with anxiety, like because there's a lot of people with social anxiety, right? And they think I'm a fucked up person or I'm a quiet person. You get picked on in school, right? If you're a bully, you're an asshole because you have, oh, you know, I'm not big enough. You know, you have internal problems, right? Get that fixed. You know, bullying should be done with, man. It's 2020, right? Talk about it. If you have, let's say, basic anxiety, right? Like, hey, Mark, you're my teacher. I'm in high school, and I got to do a fucking, I got to do a presentation in front of the class. 15 minutes. I'm fucking shaking. I'm like, oh shit. Take the teacher. You know, this is for younger people. Little advice. Take the teacher outside. Man up. You know, take accountability and say, hey, Mr. Bell, I got some social anxiety when I, present. Hey, you think it's cool if I just do 5 minutes today and then 5 minutes tomorrow? Most teachers are there to help people. They're not going to say, all right, Frank, yeah, no, you know? They're like, all right, you know, maybe you do that first 5 minutes and you do the first 15 minutes the whole time you feel comfortable, you know? But break it down into little steps. It's little steps. You can't go one at a time and you're going to relapse. You're going to go into it, you know? So there's little ideas just to try to make yourself better. You don't like talking in class, you know, raise your hand. And all right, not that bad. I'm alive. I'm breathing, right? I'm shaking a little bit. But now you're shaking a little bit. You're getting stronger. You're getting your body adapted to that, right? Fight or flight. Like, all right. So it's the same thing, making that arrest out there. I don't know how to do this arrest. Well, make it. Make the paperwork, and the cops usually will help you. It's not like in the 80s and the 90s where they didn't talk to fucking anyone. All right, rookie, here you go. Huge book, and you're looking through this book and not knowing what to do. 3 hours go by, the guy's sitting in the cell, and no paperwork is done. You're like, oh, shit. And then you got pressure, you know? So it's just little steps to try to get yourself better at every day, you know? Stretching before. There's so many different things. Changing your eating habits, just one meal at a time. The worst is when people are like, I'm going to start keto. All right, have you ever ate clean? No, but I'm going to do keto for like a month. All right, you'll do keto for a month, and then you gain that weight back in 2-3 months. It's like, what? You know, just start eating clean one meal at a time. Build that base, right? The tree is strong at the base and it builds up, right? Build that base from the bottom. Get some beautiful, beautiful branches, some leaves. I don't know where I got that from, but it just felt like in the moment. But you know what I mean? It's just look at life like that way, one day at a time, one step at a time. I just keep saying that to myself, and it helps.
Awesome, man. Great having you on the show today. Andrew, where can people find you?
You guys can hit me up on Instagram at I am Andrew Z. Make sure you're following the podcast at Mark Bell's Power Project Podcast. That's on Instagram, on Twitter at MB Power Project, Facebook.com/Mark Bell's Power Project. And for sure, make sure you're subscribed and rate and review on iTunes. And then before I forget, this episode is brought to you by Perfect Keto. They just came out with the new birthday cake bar. Some crazy deals on that. One box is 10% off, 2 boxes 20, 3 boxes 30. If you guys don't want to try out the new birthday cake bar,
It's really good.
You tried it?
We have it in the break room.
I saw it and I didn't dive in.
Yeah.
But anyway, use promo code Power
It's not
Project.
your birthday.
Yeah, what's that all about?
I'll have a birthday bar every day until my birthday.
Code Power Project 10 for $10 off of 40 at perfectketo.com/Power Project. And if you spend $100 or more, use promo code Power Project Bundle for $25 off your order. Trent Nsima over there eating birthday cakes.
Mm.
Where you at?
At Nsima Inyang on Instagram and YouTube, at Nsima Inyang on TikTok and Twitter. Mark?
At Mark Smelly Bell, kind of all over the place. And thanks for following along with World Carnivore Month. Today's day number 21, so that means you made it through 3 weeks. We got 10 more days to go. Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you all later.